So, good evening, everyone. How are we all? This is issue 73 of Building Routemaster. And with me, as usual, is my co-host, Horlicks.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. How is everyone today?
So, what have you been up to this week?
Just working and potentially puppy shopping.
Sorry, say it again, Horlicks.
And puppy shopping.
Puppy shopping.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to grill you on that one a little bit later on. So it is the fourth issue. I've got to think of a name for it. But every 4 weeks we have a very special guest. Dave Say.
Hello, everybody. And can I correct you, Penny? Because it is 72.
Yeah. Is it? What did I say?
73, you said.
73. I'm ahead of myself. Look. Right. So I'm had a very, very quick look at the magazine this week. Not anything major. I've looked at the parts, pretty much as we predicted. And I think next week is going to be the same as this week. But someone's posted in the Facebook group, I think we are looking at a little bit more excitement than we thought. Have you seen the Facebook group?
I haven't personally, actually.
Looks like, sorry, spoiler warning, everybody. It looks like we're going to get, I can't think of the right words for it, but a little metal chassis underneath the top deck, which will go onto the roof of the bottom deck.
All right.
Yeah. So we didn't see that one coming, did we?
Well, no, I mean, we knew there'd be something, but I didn't realise, potentially metal.
Yeah, so that's going to please all the people who like to rate the issues on the individual contents, won't it?
Oh, I see. Yeah, I've just seen the picture.
Yeah, so if you're not in the Facebook group, get in there now. You get a sneak preview.
Yeah, looks good. It's very similar to the original. It looks a bit like the chassis from the bottom, doesn't it?
Yeah. On the negative side, though, it's going to add even more weight to the bus. Can you imagine trying to lift that up when it's complete? That's going to weigh a ton, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Have you seen the picture, Dave?
I think it's going to estimate it to be something like 12 kilograms. Which is
that's
really heavy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because I lifted actually a box at work the other day, and it felt really heavy. And I put it on the scales, and it was only like 11. I was like, wow. So yeah, I can imagine how that's going to feel.
Thing is, it's not always the weight; it's the shape. I mean, when I did courier work, one of my regular collections was a grass seed company, and they used to have grass seed in 20-kilogram bags. And they were easy to lift because you could kind of mold the bag and then you could pop it on your shoulder, and that was easy to carry. But a big lump like that with not many places to hold it, that's going to be a lot harder to hold, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. So before we get into the build, I'm going to quickly go through all the comments because we do try not to miss anybody. So first person today was Adrian Langley, who says, good evening all.
Hello, Adrian.
Love Minis. We got Love Minis, who's changed the name back to Love Minis. What was it? Love Minis 17 last or 11 or something? I can't remember now. I can't keep up with the names.
I didn't even notice a change. But yeah.
Did you not?
Hello, Love Minis. How are you? Hope you're well. Hope you're feeling better.
We've got Fleetwood J says hi to everyone. Hope everyone's well. Adrian Lang, hello. Have I gone again?
No, sorry. I was saying hello to everyone. You're saying hello.
Sorry. It's the way you said hello. It's that I can't hear you anymore. Hello.
Hello, it's me.
You know, like when you're on the mobile phone and someone can't hear you, you do one big long one, then you do 3. And then you do about 5, don't you? Go, hello, 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 hello. So we've got Roger Kendall who says, good evening, look forward to the build. Lots of JP screwing tonight. Yeah, if you're not good at screwdriver work by now, I don't think you ever will be, will you?
No. Yeah, especially with all those seats.
So we've got Peter Whitlock. Good evening, everyone. Fleetwood J, Mark Knight. Hello, Mark Knight. Stuart Sullivan. Have you made a show on time, Stuart Sullivan?
Oh, I haven't. You weren't here last week, were you? I think you had something on actually. Did you have to work or something last week? I think you had to dart off for work, if I remember.
That poor guy is always having to work, do his bit for the country, and Jeremy Hunt. So more from Mark Knight. Hello, Chris Campbelling. How are you? P40F20. Oh, big, massive thank you to someone later on. I've just seen their name come up. We've got Ian Bedson. Hello, Steve Graham. Hello. P40F20P Paul 61C70. Don't care what anyone says. Real chips are better than French fries. Absolutely no idea where that one came from, but yeah, I'll totally agree. Proper chips, nice big fat chips, not those stupid little powdered potato things you get from McDonald's.
No.
Trouble is, a lot of chippies, we're going totally off subject now. A lot of chip shops, they buy their chips in frozen, don't they? And I really don't like them.
And I've noticed that chippies have actually put their price up since wasn't there a problem sourcing potatoes?
I don't know.
I think there was. It wasn't a very good year for them or something, and so I think the price of the chippies have gone up slightly. Well, they have down our way.
Oh, they're pretty extortionate now, anyway, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, you can get a bag for
£1 for one potato, if that.
What you want is some Slimming World chips. They're gorgeous.
Slimming World chips.
Yeah, Slimming World chips. Have you never heard of them?
No. I've got to be honest with you. When I look at some of these slimming meals, the word slimming puts me off, because usually slimming means slimming usually means fat removed, sugar removed, and that's where all the flavor is. But in all fairness, now in all fairness, I have eaten some Slimming World meals, and I'm like, actually, these are really nice. So yeah, I'm always up for trying things. But yeah.
Well, they're not frozen. Let me quickly tell you how to do Slimming World chips. Get a normal, average, everyday potato, peel it, and then chop the potato into large chips, very large chips, and then part boil the chips in a pan. So you part boil them in a pan, and then dry them out on a tea towel or something, or some kitchen roll or something like that, and then put them on a baking tray, spray them with Firelight, which is like a light oil spray.
Yeah.
Put them in the oven for 25 to 35 minutes, and you should end up with some golden chips. Put them on the top shelf on a high setting. Wow, lovely.
Actually,
that sounds very similar.
Carl did that. He was experimenting, and we tried, because you can do the thrice cooked chips, can't you, in a fryer? But we tried them, and then he makes his own potato wedges, and he does the same. He part boils them, and then he puts I think we've got some of that Firelight stuff, and sometimes he adds some herbs and spices to it.
Yeah,
shuffles
them up in the oven. Really nice.
Yeah. I do mine. I just chop them into chips, and then I just chuck them in my air fryer XL. Put some of that one cal spray on, and then just chuck them on until they. But I keep the skins on, because then they're more filling, and then you don't eat as much.
Yeah.
And that's key to calories, isn't it? If you can get stuff that fills you up and you don't eat so much, you would naturally not eat so many calories. Not that it does any good whatsoever, because my job doesn't burn calories. So
it's just eating in moderation, isn't it? And it's like what Marjorie Dawes says. You can have a cake, but just cut it in half, and then you've got half the calories.
And then once because you've only had half a cake, you can have another half a cake later on.
Yeah.
Right. So so Adrian Langley again. There's mention of puppies. Our lass keeps hers to herself these days. Oh, that's been rude there, Paul, isn't it? So yeah, Stuart Sullivan says he was working last week. You're having a laugh, Dave. He says Fleetwood J says, I love my chippy chips. I use beef dripping. Oh, I'm coming back to where you live. Mark Knight says the skin holds most of the goodness. Totally agree. And now Marty McFly wants a bag of chips. Trevor Rodway says, hi, everyone. Andy M just logged in. I've just stumbled across the Fanny and Johnny show. Okay, not heard of that myself. Stephen Owen says, hello, first time chat. You're always welcome, Stephen. Everyone's always welcome. And then James Tubridy says, tell us more about the puppy. So we will grill you on that later on. But shall we get on with building a bus, perhaps? Yeah. So I'm not going to get my last week's bit down just yet, but I will get my seats ready because obviously I'll need those. And then I'll hand over to you. Before we progress, I've got something I might be able to. I make no promises, but I've been doing a print. I'm hoping it'll be finished by the end of the show. So, but I will show you what it looked like just before the show began. So there it is. What do you reckon to that? That is taking. Yeah, but that is taking up the. Look! Do you see the whole print bed on there?
Yeah.
That's how big it is.
Wow.
But you can. I don't know if you can see just there. There's my little fan cover, and then just there, you can see a little chest of drawers that I made.
Oh yeah.
You put little bits in there. Now behind this bit there, where the LCD screen is, I don't know if you remember, there was a big gap. There's now a drawer. There's now a drawer in there as well, and I keep things like the Allen keys in there. Guys, I apologize. Can you hear the train in the background?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I've got my window open, and I really need the window open, otherwise I'm going to melt. But yeah, that's. Hopefully, it'll be finished by the end of the show. But I really can't make any promises. And that's a picture of the inside of it. But you see all those little scraps that have come off. Yeah. So I'm really, really glad I did that fan cover, because otherwise most of those would have ended up. Yeah, let me see if I can get it back. Most of them would have dropped down there where the fan is, and it would have just all just got consumed by the fan. But I've really pushed this one to the limit purposely. Right, concentrate. I've got to hit the stop button, but not the stop broadcast. Yes, done it. Yeah, I've really pushed that to the limit. What I did was I've actually done it a little bit too hot. The print bed is 100 degrees. It's sometimes I've accidentally touched it, say with the side of my arm, and boy does it catch you out. But trying to ruin the print, I actually turned the print speed up to 140%, and you can see the result. It's turned out okay. It's not actually a complicated print. It's just all it's doing is essentially just doing that. So it's not doing all. Once it all starts doing this, that, and the other, and it's. I hope it's finished, because then I can show you it's got built-in supports and everything. But it's only half of the foot, and I might have shown you before. This is part of the inside of the foot, so it's going to cover all of this bit, and it'll come out a bit more, and you've got like the motor's going to go there, but it just looks, the finish, that was actually the Amazon Basics PETG, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic, and it's £6 a roll cheaper than 3D filler print, and because it's Amazon, I can get it delivered the next day to a locker. So I'm going to use that Amazon Basics all the time. It's really, really good. I've got no problems with it at all. So again, thank you to the subscriber who bought that for me. You've done me an absolute favor. You know, I didn't, you know, if it had gone wrong, it's a lot of money to waste. You know, but it's a really good filament for. I mean, I suppose there's better filaments out there, but for the price I paid, well, you can see it's done the job really well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really, really, because you think Amazon Basics, you would think it's the absolute minimum standards, and if you want anything complex, you probably don't want to use it. But I'm using a really cheap 3D printer with a really cheap Chinese make with a really cheap basic filament, and I'm getting a really good result. I'm just really shocked. I've got one more thing to be thankful for. Again, we don't mention, unless someone comes up and says, yeah, that was me. I'm not going to mention names, but I now have a backup screwdriver. Thank you for someone who bought that for me. Obviously, I know who bought it, but we don't say anything unless they say. So absolutely brilliant. The only difference between this one and my one, my old one, is this bit slightly different. It's not better or worse. Oh, it's slightly shorter, but my old one's got a spring, whereas this one, I think it's a spring inside rubber, plastic. So, but it's absolutely identical, and it's brilliant. So if anything should happen to my screwdriver, I've got a backup one. But
you only copied me because I've got a backup one.
You've got what?
You only copied me because I wanted to get a backup.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think I need a backup. I mean, you look how much punishment I put my screwdrivers through.
Yeah, no. They're so good. You've just got to have one in you because you just start sweating otherwise.
I mean, I don't know if you can see that. I don't think the focus is going to show it, but that's my most used bit. And yeah, you can tell it's not brand new, but the condition of it is excellent. So you know, for 10 quid, I think, did it cost me 10, 12 quid? I know I went a little bit higher, and I think I went overkill because I got all the little bits I didn't need. Although I did get this with it, with my old one. But obviously, once you've got one of these, you don't need another one, do you?
No.
So, yeah, no, I'm really, really happy to have a backup. And then, of course, if there's someone out there that desperately wants a screwdriver and hasn't quite got the money yet, I can always say, well, look, there's mine. You replace it when you can, you know. So just gives me a little bit more options. So 20 past 8, we've done absolutely nothing. Poor old Dave is sitting there saying nothing, banished to the corner as we always do with the guests.
That's all right.
So shall we make a start then, Horlicks?
Yeah. Okay.
Again, I'm going to apologize for any background noise, but I'm not going to do anything about it because, like I say, if I shut my windows, it's just going to get really hot in my room and I'm just going to melt. So you can either have melted penny or you can have background noise. So I know, sorry, Stephen Owen has just said that he's had his deliveries issues delivered. I've not got mine yet, and everyone's reporting that they've got theirs. So I'm a little bit disappointed that I'm last again. Always last. But you know, that's fine. My my newsagent's copy came in today, so hooray for W8 Smiths. And so I've got my parts for this week, and hopefully next month Hachette will get themselves sorted out. So over to you then, Horlicks.
Okay, so today obviously we're going to be working on central seating in the upper deck. The central seating of the upper deck is supplied. 6 of the seats that were assembled earlier are fitted to the upper deck, and the central and rear deck sections are joined together. So, what's going on with this computer? Here we go. So we've got 72A, which is the central section of the upper deck.
That's this piece. Same as last week. You can tell it's been treated or something on the top, because it does look a bit different from the bottom piece. It's got a bit more of a matte finish, but that looks absolutely beautiful. Let me switch my camera over. I have got a little blemish on mine. You know, I point out the bad and the good. Oh, camera problem. Sorry, bear with me a sec, guys. What I've done is I've done my camera. I'm not even going to explain it because it's right. Okay, I have no camera. Right, bear with me a sec, guys. Right. What happens is when I do my camera control, if the camera is already selected by the camera control, it won't let me select it. It's just come up an error. I have to select a camera that's already been selected. Right, I'm just going to redo. I had the focus about there. So, right, I have a little blemish there. But that really, because you can see from these two holes here, the seat's going to go across there. And the seat will look something like that. So you won't even notice it. So I'm really not going to worry about it. But if I really was concerned, I could always fill that with something and then get a very close match to the color. I mean, I might even weather these anyway. So if I got a close color match and then put a wash over it, you'll never know it's there. So, and there's another one there as well. But you can see the seat's going to go over it. I really don't think you'll see it when it's finished. And if it does, there's so many options you can use to cover that up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm really not going to worry about that. Yeah, I was thinking it was an injection point, but I think the injection points are actually on the reverse, which is the sensible place to put them. I don't know if you can see that. One there, one there, one there, two in the middle, and then 3 on the other side. So I don't know what that is, but yeah, I think it's deliberately placed there, because if they put it there, say, you'd notice it. So I'm really not worried about it. And the other component is, surprise, surprise.
So we should have 21 JP screws.
Right. Okay. So again, I'm not going to count these, but I'm just going to estimate them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. Yeah, it's about 20, 21 there. So I'm really not worried about. You know, for the amount of time for what it is, I'm just not going to worry. So there's my JP screws. There is my central section of the seat.
Right. So we need to fit the left-hand seat, 69A, in place of the front left of the central section of the upper deck, 72A. Fix in place using 2 JP screws through the floor and into the legs of the seat support. Repeat to fit the seat 68A at the rear left of the floor section. So they are the 2 seats without knobbly bits.
Right. Okay. So I did say I wasn't going to get last week's piece down. I am now. The reason for it is the seats that we're after. Oh, actually, we don't need it because it can only be these. If you can't remember if the red bit goes in the red bit goes in the middle, but if you fitted the wrong side, it just won't go. Do you see? And if you did it obviously the wrong way round, so yeah, just make sure your 3 bits there are forward, and then it's the only seats that you can fit without knobbly bits, which are obviously going to go there, because you can see from the instructions that we're not putting one in the middle. Does any of that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
What I just said.
It does.
So yeah, it's the only seats that will fit. Remember, these little tabs there go on the outside. These are going to go over there. If you fit it on the wrong way round, then the seats. I mean, No, you can't even fit that because remember you got the little key lock bit. So there is only one way it will fit. So usual procedures. I'm going to get 4 screws out today because we're going to need 4 for this particular job. And I think just doing the first couple is going to be the hardest. Once you've done a few, it's going to get easier. So we'll just pop the first one in just enough to bite. And then we'll pop the second one in. Like so. And actually, this is useful because this is going to cover up one of those little, what I call defect. So that's gone in. I haven't gone in as tight as I can. Right, there we go. More resistance there. So I've stopped. And more resistance there. That's in. Feel it at the bottom because if you feel it on the seat, you will get lots of movement. So actually wiggle the seat post. Again, that's a little bit off center, wiggled a little bit, but we know that that will adjust once we put the side walls in. And there's the little indent. I don't think you're going to notice. If you looked at it like that, you can't really see it, can you? You're not. The next seat along will probably be something like that. So you can see you're going to have a hard job looking for that, aren't you?
You're not gonna be able to see that.
Yeah, if you're looking for it, you probably could find it. But when your guests come round and admire your bus, I really don't. If you don't say anything, I don't think they'll find it. You know, you
certainly not going to be looking for an indentation in the floor.
No. I mean, if you've got guests who come round for dinner and look at your bus, and all they do is point out all the defects, then it's fair to say they're a little bit rude.
Yeah.
And I would probably just kick them out of my house and say, yeah, if you don't come back ever again, it'll be too soon. Right. So I'm putting the second seat in exactly the same as the first one, exactly the same as the seats last week. Just screwing them in very slowly until they go tight. And then I just check the post, the leg, that's in tight. And that one is just, actually, that one's not too bad. That one's a little bit twisted, but again, not worrying about it because we know this will all line up in the end. Okay. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, that looks really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks
starting to look like a bus now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so stage 2.
Okay, so we need to take the assembled left seat 68B. No, this seat has a fixing point for an upright pole, so knobbly bit. Fit it on the left-hand side of the floor 72A between the previous 2 seats. Fix in place with 2 JP screws through the floor and into the seat supports.
Right. So what I've done is I've got one of each of the seats with the poles. Again, really easy to identify. It's got to be that one because that one will fit. This one isn't going to fit however you'd, well, yeah, it'll go in there, but it's pretty obvious that that's wrong. So, and Paul 61 has said that he'd kick out the cheeky bleeders as well if people come around and criticize my bus. Right, so this one going in the middle. I think I'd have liked to have done this one first because you're trying to maneuver around the first 2 seats. But you can see it's quite easily doable. Once you've got that first screw in, that's now not going anywhere. So, and a good screwdriver helps because you get that screw locked onto the end of the head. That's one less thing to worry about. Sometimes the problem we seem to have is that we just don't have enough hands and fingers. Right, so that's locked in, or just side bitten. So I'll just gently screw those in. Because it's a bit awkward, I'm just going to do half or 1 turn on each until it tightens. I'm finding it difficult to hold down. Normally I'd hold down the legs like that, but because we're on the middle one, it's a little bit difficult. So I've just got to let it pull itself in. So you may want to consider doing stage 2 before you do stage 1, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But saying that, it wasn't difficult. So, but check the legs. But yeah, if you get that one in first, you've got plenty of room to hold it. Then you can do this one there and that one like that. So, right, and that's that side done. So again, a little bit off. I mean, it could be the way that I'm screwing them in, but you can see there's a little bit of maneuver there. So really, I'm not worried about it. So if you get slightly skew with seats, do not panic. Promise you that will all come together. Okay. So what have we got next? I think I can guess.
Yeah. So we're going to...
That's interesting. Stage 3 is actually the same as stage 2 on the other side. So we'll actually get the chance to see if that's easier. So sorry, yeah, off you go, Horlicks. Sorry, I've interrupted you there.
Yeah, so take the right-hand seat, 65A. This seat should be fitted to the 2 central holes on the right-hand side of the floor section, 72A. Fixed in place with 2 JP screws through the floor and into the legs of the seat support.
Right, so that's going to be this one without the knobbly bit, because the knobbly bits are going every other row on alternate sides. So that's going to go into there like so. Again, just be aware of the red bit in the middle. But again, if you get the wrong seat, so long as you've done it properly when you made the seats, anything wrong will look wrong. So just the 2 screws I'm going to get ready on this one. Load that screw up, and I'm going to hold that in there. And again, it's just getting the first one in that's always the hardest. So there we go, that's in. Just enough to bite. I might just come in the other side on this one. Right, that's in enough to bite. I'm happy that's in the right position. So then we'll just proceed and tighten them up. Yeah, this is so much easier than the middle one on the opposite side, because where I'm placing my fingers. Okay. Happy with that. Happy with that. So I'm happy with that. How does it look to you? Just to move my camera up just a little bit.
Brilliant.
Okay. So stage 4, is it?
Yeah, so we need to take the last 2 seats to be fitted in place. They're the right-hand seats with fixing points for the upright poles, circled in red, aka knobbly bits. Fit seat 66B at the rear of the floor section and seat 65B at the front, using 2 JP screws for each seat.
Lovely. Right, so these are those 2 seats with the knobbly bits on, and they're going to go there and there. So you'll see that the final result will have 1 pole per row alternating. So 4 JP screws, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you can see them, they're ready. So screw loaded up. Okay, so hold that into place. Get the first screw in, just enough to bite. Load up the second screw. I do apologize if this is boring for everyone, going over the same thing over and over again, but that is the way the issue's gone. Lots and lots of screwing. And I think once we finish this top deck seating, I think it will be a case of it won't matter what they give us next. We'll just be happy to do something different. Didn't you have issues like that with the R2 and DeLorean?
Mm.
You just did the same thing over and over, and you were just happy to get anything, even if it was boring.
Well, the way I see it, you know, this once these are done, you know, this we all knew from the beginning that the seats were going to be very repetitive. You know, the rest of the bus should all be unique and different.
I remember complaining about doing one wheel after another, and really that was extremely interesting compared to this, wasn't it?
Mm.
Now I'm coming across really negative, and I don't mean to be, because this is what the bus is all about. It's a box filled with seats, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that is what a bus is. And the more seats we get in, the more exciting it does look. But so I'm accidentally being negative, and I really don't mean to be. Right, so that
in
is
the
that.
In the olden days, buses were, the seats were practically all the same anyway. You know, they weren't different to today's buses, where you have a long seat and a short seat and a little seat. So they were nearly all the same with the seats on all old buses.
Right, so are you happy with that, Horlicks?
Yeah, that looks good.
I you know what, I take back everything I said. That is absolutely brilliant.
It is, yeah.
I really like that. I like the gaps. The gaps look realistic to me. You know, you get those little gaps in the back of the seat where you lose all your loose change. Yeah, I really like that. And yeah, I love everything. I love the pattern.
Yeah.
That's London transport as I remember it. Yeah. Old London.
Yeah.
Pre 84. Right. Okay. What's next? Is there another stage?
No. Yeah. So there's a picture just emphasising where the knobbly bits should be placed.
Okay,
so
let's do a quick comparison then. So we've got one at the back on the left, one in the middle on the right, one at the front on the left, and that is this one, and this one. So I'm happy with that. I think that looks the same in the picture. It's a bit awkward because my picture's flipped, but yeah, I'm just actually waiting for the actual broadcast to come up.
Yeah, no, you are showing the right way.
Yeah, because on my monitor it looks flipped, so it doesn't quite. You have to kind of flip it in your mind. Yeah, I'm happy with the way that looks.
Brilliant. So, step 5, you're going to need to take the rear floor section, 71A, that we worked on last week. Position the tabs at the front so they're aligned with the raised screw holes at the rear of the floor section, 72A, which is obviously this week's. The raised screw holes on part 72A fit into the recesses on the tabs on part 71A, and then fix each tab in place with 2 JP screws. So that's interesting, isn't it? Because when we did this on the lower deck, there was only 1 screw. So I'm wondering if they've made it a little bit stronger.
I don't know. I don't think it's that strong, but we'll have a look. Now, the first thing that I'm looking out for is the position of the knobbly bits. So right, so they're locked in. So what I'm looking at, knobbly bit there from last week and one there, and then it continues the pattern there, there, and there. So I'm happy that we've done that right. We've done all of our double checks, but you know that's like a triple check. So I don't know what the easiest way to do these screws will be. Do you think we do one, then another one, or do we just go in and do each row? I would imagine if we did the outside ones and then went back in the middle ones.
Yeah, I would do it that way.
But that's actually stood up quite nicely. But I will whoops, managed to drop my screws everywhere, and by coincidence I dropped the correct number of screws, and then I dropped 2 more. So obviously those ones I dropped first, they want to be used. So right, so I'm going to do the middle one first. And that's only just big enough, that little hole, and I've done it just enough to bite, and I would say that's gone in. So apologies if you can't see it too well. This is a compromise between me having a good work position and you having a good view. Right. So that these second 2 have gone in very, very easy. That first one went in a little bit. So I wonder if it just wasn't quite right. Once we got that first screw in, it kind of pulled everything into position, which is why the second 2 went in easy. All right. So again, I've just put all of these in just enough to bite. And I don't know if it'd be best to do the outside ones first, but I've gone for the middle ones first. Oh, that one went in too easy. So I'm a little bit worried about that screw. You know me and plastic screws. I always seem to get one screw that just will rotate forever and ever. So, right, I'm happy with that fit. So I'm going to go through each one. I'm going to support it in the middle, about there. And I'm just going to gently screw them until the resistance increases. Right, that's those. I'm going to turn it over for this last one because I did quite like supporting it at the top. So I've just flipped it over. But obviously you do it best way for you. Right, and this is the one I think is going to be troublesome. Nope, that's gone in fine. Right, so yeah. It's not an awesome. It's a little bit weak. I think if I was stupid enough to hold it there and then let go of this hand and then give it a little bit of a wave, I think it would crack in the middle. So do support the 2 sides. Let me just bring the camera up to show you what I mean. So it will. Can you see that that's got a little bit of a bend if I don't support it? So if I held it there and I let go of this hand and then give it, you know, I'm talking about if I carry this one-handed over to the bus, I would be cringing that it's going to snap in the middle. So do support it. And I would suspect that once we get the next piece on, you want to pop your hand where the joins are. And I would suspect, let's have a look for some screw holes. So yeah, we've got these holes, which I now think might be screw holes. So perhaps that's why they're putting a metal bit on the bottom to add the support to it. But saying that, if you screw it into the roof, as long as the joins aren't in the same place as the roof, I think that will become very strong. It's just that we've got 2 single pieces of plastic. Yeah. But are you guys happy with that? I certainly am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now, what I found interesting about that was they gave us 21 screws, didn't they? But we've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So they've given us 3 spares this week. So the question is, have they given us 3 spares for a reason? Or was it, for example, they were using a machine that counts in 7s and they put 3 lots in? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just weary of they have already now got a history of giving us screws that we won't use. You know, we get an issue that says, "Oh, use the screws that we gave you weeks and weeks ago to put this part in." So I'm wondering if those 3 or 2 of those extra JPs will become extremely important. So don't throw. I mean, we say this every week anyway, and I think the general consensus is that none of us throw screws away, do we?
No.
So Trevor Rodway says how many seats will be fitted in total. Now, the only person on this earth that I know, I mean, I could come up with the figure, I could work it out, but the only person I know in the world who can just go bum is Dave Say. Ha ha.
18 double seats, making 36 in total upstairs.
See, didn't I say he's the only one I knew who could just go bang? So I'm just going to go back a little bit on the chat in case I've missed anything. Right. I've got, oh, yeah, Stuart was asking about the extension wire for the battery box C. Chris Davies has said 75 or 74. Does that sound about right?
75.
75. Paul 61 has got all of his seats but hasn't started to build them yet. Oh, excuse me, I've got hiccups now. Chris Davies says, does anyone know if Facebook is back to normal? I wasn't aware it wasn't normal. Stuart says
it's been horrendous.
All right. I've got to be honest with me. I can't, if Facebook slows down, I can't always tell if it's Facebook or my computer.
I've had a lot of issues on my phone the last few days where it keeps saying cannot load, and then it says, oh, we can't load it in English. Would you like to use English US or something?
Now, I wonder, I don't know if this is significant. Obviously, the Facebook Routemaster group admins, we have our own little chat, and it gets quite entertaining. Now, I got woken up at about 3:30 this morning by about roughly 10 messages. It just went ding, ding, ding. And I woke up. My words weren't quite this pleasant. But they went something along the lines of, who on earth is sending so many messages at this time of the morning? They weren't the exact words I used, but you know, we tried to keep this a family show, and I looked at it wasn't the same person. So I reckon what must have happened was the messages didn't come through straight away.
Maybe they got backed up and queued, and then
it's like in the old days when you used to get your New Year texts. You used to receive them about 6 a.m, didn't you? Because everybody texts everyone at midnight, and yours ended up getting in a backlog, and you didn't get them till 6 a.m. And then you'd text them back, going thank you, and they'll go, why are you leaving it so late? I've been in bed 5 hours. Right, so can't believe I got arrested for impersonating a politician. I was just sitting around doing nothing. Yeah, good one, Trevor. Can't beat a good screwdriver. Oh yeah, I like that one. Can't beat a big. It's all in the punctuation, isn't it? Sure, it was Mark. The People's WWE channel says, I always wondered why Horlicks is called Horlicks. Would you like to tell us the story again, Horlicks?
Yeah.
It's quite a boring story, really, isn't it?
Why'd you say? Oh, sorry, yeah. Well, yeah, it's a bit boring. It's when I was with my ex-partner, and friends and that, they always used to go out and just cause mischief as they do, and I wasn't into that. I just wanted to stay in, watch a film, you know, chill out. So then my ex called me Horlicks because I basically reminded him of someone that sits home in his slippers, feet up, with a mug of Horlicks in the dressing gown because I was boring and stayed indoors. And,
which coincidentally is actually me. I sometimes I'll just sit there with my slippers on and my dressing gown, drinking Ovaltine or Horlicks.
Yeah.
So I'm the one who does it. You're the one who gets the name.
Yeah, and it's sort of stuck ever since. I've had it for years. But there's like about 5 Alexes where I work, so it's handy because we've all got different nicknames. So I'm known as Horlicks at work, because otherwise, you know, they say, "Oh, can you go and ask Alex to do this?" And then you're like, "Yeah, which one?" There's like 5.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. You know, the one who likes to sit at home drinking Horlicks in his slippers and dressing gown.
Yeah. And to be fair, I wasn't far off that anyway. But yeah, that's what it's about, really. So that's stuck ever since. I've had that about 7-8 years, that name.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not telling you what my nickname is.
Well, you're going to have to now, Dave, because you've just brought it up. Well, it's funny actually. We've got a guy at work whose name begins with D, and he's always chirpy, so I now call him Sunny D. But that would actually have suited you, I think, Dave.
Yeah, well,
you always chirpy.
I am in the sunshine at the moment. I don't know for how long, like, but
well, you know, anything over 3 hours of sun in the UK is pretty good summer, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's quite sunny there, but here it's not as sunny now. It's going down, so
yeah, it's lovely here at the moment. We've got a lovely sunset going off. I don't know whether you can. It might be too bright, but lovely sunset.
Oh, it looks beautiful.
So,
yeah.
Right, so Mark Knights is just glad to see it all coming together. Mark Osborne says, as the boss says, bum on seats. Trevor Rodway's 22 issues behind, so it's nice to see what's ahead. Yeah, you're really catching up because you've not been doing it that long, have you, Trevor? Because didn't you get like loads and loads of issues at once? The only worry I've got for you, Trevor, is that you're doing so many issues as a catch-up and you're really getting into it. When you're down to 1 issue a week, are you going to be like, oh, I can't wait that long for 1 issue? I've been used to doing 100 issues at once. So Mark Knight is waiting to hear a train go past, which sounds like Ivor the engine, which has given me a brilliant idea for a future project on our Saturday show, Horlicks.
Yeah.
Because I'm learning the Welsh accent, you see. So you never know. I might be able to get it done. Mark Osborne says, Cleaner found, is that £200,000 of industrial diamonds on one of the Routemasters in the 90s? Peter Whitlock says, floor on the bottom deck had chassis for support. I think the metal chassis on the floor was needed because that's going to support. You're naturally going to pick the bus up from the bottom, so you're going to have a metal support. I don't think it's going to need support in the middle. However, Hachette have designed this. They know what the final model looks like. I would have thought that with the metal chassis at the bottom and then the metal bodywork, it would be well supported. But belt and braces never hurt anyone, did it?
No.
Well, I think they'll need the support in the middle for all the bodywork that's going to be screwed to it.
That makes. I mean, yeah, we now know middle chassis metal is coming, so. I mean, I welcome it. You know, it's the more metal there is, the more value for money we're getting because we know metal parts cost more than plastic to make. Yes. So the more metal there is, I mean, I've always said if it might as well be plastic if it doesn't need to be metal. And I know there's some parts people have gone, well, I would have liked metal, whereas I've said, well, if it doesn't need to be metal, make it plastic. Metal for me is quality, adds strength and makes the whole thing last longer. but plastic also makes it lighter. So you got to find this compromise between the two. Mark Knight says on my a couple of other people have had issues with Facebook. Sorry, I've lost the chat and I've had to regain where I was. Mark says, yeah, it'll probably be much stronger when it fits into the main structure. Yeah, the more we build on this, the stronger it becomes. I still remember it was a very, very weak structure until we got those safety bars on the side. And then all of a sudden, loads of strength got added. Then we added a little bit more. We added the body work onto it, became even stronger. We'll put the roof on. That will become strong. The bottom roof will go on. That metal chassis is going to go on. By the time we get the roof, we're probably going to have an object that you could probably throw on the floor and it'll just take it. You know, don't throw it on the floor, but right. Chris doesn't keep right. Chris, we tried to drill it into you. You said you don't keep your spares now, but you will be keeping your spares from now on, won't you, Chris? Yes is the answer we are looking for. Adrian Langley message retracted. See, now when it says message retracted, I'm always like, oh, what did he say? Was it funny? So Mark Knight on his Facebook, it was just some pictures that wouldn't show. Now you say that, yes, I had that. I was still getting the Facebook messages, but I wasn't getting the pictures. So I know what you mean now. So a few people had Facebook problems. Chris Davies says there'll be 2 Horlicks next. Mark Knight says, haven't had a drink of Horlicks in years. And I've just lost the chat again. Right, Roger, I'm right. I was trying to get my YouTube channel back up and running for July. I've got the printer going again now, as you probably saw earlier on. I've done quite a lot of testing. I've tried to do bad prints, pushing the printer too far. But I've also got, my head is still all over the place at the moment. And I've just got no motivation. And I'm really trying to pick myself up off the ground. I mean, me and Dave were having a chat about this pre-show. If you're feeling low, it's a very individual thing, and you guys, people say to me, oh, just do something that makes you happy. You know, make your YouTube videos, they'll make you happy. Yes, they will, but getting the motivation to do them is the hard bit. Once I get going, and I'm trying really hard, and then I'm trying to think, right, well, if I can get the place tidied up, that will help me go for it. But it's just getting the go, and it's one of those things easier said than done. I don't know if anyone can relate to that, or if I'm just on my own there, but no, I am.
Definitely, Penny.
So Mark Knight is asking you got to reveal all now. Now Chris Davies, now in the minute. That's a horrible Welsh saying. It makes me laugh. One thing they say in Wales a lot is now in a minute. And it's like, you know, I'll do it now in a minute. It's like, well, you're going to do it now, or are you going to do it in a minute? Really weird stuff they do. And they also, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but my bus customers, they ask me for things they don't want. I'm sure I've said this before, but I'll have a customer get on the bus and they'll say, does this bus go to the hospital? And I'll go, oh, sorry, it doesn't. And then they'll get on and I'll go, no, I said, it doesn't go to the hospital. And they're like, no, that's fine. I don't want to go to the hospital. Like, what? It looks like the Revel model seats are necessary, but maybe they could have split them a tad. Thing is, if you split the seats a bit, what are you going to do before the seats are finished? I got a feeling that the next stage we do is we need the seats done in order to do it. So I think we're doing this in the best order we can? Dave, can you think if you'd have done this model up to this point, do you think there's a couple of little things that could have been done differently, but there isn't? What do you think, Dave? Could you read it?
Well, I think the seats, yeah, they could have been split up a bit more, but it's the way that it's designed. Looking at the future issues that have been put on our Facebook group today, which is great, because I like all future issues. Now we understand, especially with that framework, how they're going to fit the top deck to the bottom deck roof. And now they've done that, it's sort of simplified it to me, rather than putting individual seats in and screwing them to the sides like we did on the bottom deck. And it all makes sense to me. I think it's all right. I haven't personally built the Revel model Routemaster. Something I'd like to do, but I'm not going to be able to do that right now. I do have the Sunstar model, which I've just split, and that comes as just one unit, one top deck and one bottom deck. So you can understand why they've done it as it is, really. Boring putting seats together, yes, maybe for those that aren't interested in buses, but a necessary evil, really.
Yeah.
What's a bus without any seats? It isn't.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's like the paint when I'm doing the R2D2, the sanding it down to make it nice and smooth. That is boring and horrible, but if I don't do it, I won't get a good result at the end. Yeah. So necessary evil, to use your phrase.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like doing bus checks in the morning. I hate doing them, but they need to be done so that I know I've got a reliable bus all day.
Yeah,
I'm like that with work with the forklift.
Yeah.
You know, there's like 5 people that can drive the forklift, but I always get nominated to do it every morning, and it's just really boring. But it's got to be done, because if anyone has an accident, it's my fault, isn't it?
Yeah. And with me, if there's any checks that I don't do, even right down to checking the bells or checking the seat belts if it's got it fitted, each check that doesn't get done and I get caught is about £1,000 fine.
Yeah, it can be a very serious issue.
Yeah, I don't think DVLA or DSA or whatever they're called, or VOSA, I don't think any of their fines are 3 figures. I think they're all 4 figures or more.
Yeah.
So,
and especially with a bus as well, because obviously you've got passengers, people's lives at risk. I mean, one thing that was drilled into us at PSV school was the rear emergency exit on a coach. They are lockable, because obviously they're a coach and they do trips and the driver goes off and leaves his bus. If that rear emergency door is locked when you've got passengers on board, then that is a very, very serious offence.
Yeah, because they can't get out in the event of emergency then, can they?
Yeah. And that's one of the first things that VOSA would check, actually, is the rear emergency door. They'd physically go around and open the door and slam it again to make sure that it is actually open.
One thing I'm planning in the future is I'm going to steal one of our first use checks from work, and then I'll cut the top bit off that tells you where I work, and you can actually have a look. We'll go through the first use check. They'll all be well, our cards are a little bit old because they've got things like lockers written on, and we all put NA, but it's a good indication of what people have to do as first use checks. Obviously, that'll be a little bit boring for all the bus drivers out there, but anyone that's interested in buses but don't drive them, it might be interesting to go through the check. And it is quite laborious, but I'll go through it all with you.
Yeah.
I think it's quite interesting. But yeah, it's yeah. So we'll go through that. Probably bring that out one day when we get a figure, and then that'll fill the show out a little bit.
Yeah.
Right, the Revel model, isn't that the RML? Because didn't someone challenge me to do the Revel model but make it into an RM?
Yeah, that's true. It is the RML, so it's the longer version of the Routemaster, and it has the small center section window in the center.
Yeah,
and
because that is the only difference between the RM and the RML, isn't it? It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 extra seats.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I believe so. Yes.
It'll just be a case of, so I might actually buy that Revel model twice, make it as the RML, look at how the bits fit together, and then cut the section bit out, see if I can do it, see if it's possible. I think I could do it, but I think it won't be easy.
No, I don't think it's easy.
So Fleetwood J has come up with something that I cannot understand, but he assures us that it's Welsh for best day of the week is Routemaster Day. I have a feeling he didn't know that. He may actually have Googled that. He might have done 6 weeks at night school just to learn that phrase. So Peter Whitlock suspects that the next few issues will be doing the driver's door, as that will need to be in place before. Yeah, I think we'll build the top deck bottom combined with the bottom deck top, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then we'll complete the driver's cab, which I don't think is an awful lot to complete now. But yeah, we've got to, maybe the next figure will be the driver to put him in, and then we can put the roof on. So any guesses on what he'll look like? I think he's got to look like Butler. He's got to, isn't he? That would just be perfect. No, I bet you he'll be a nice, sensible, moustache-wearing chap. Right. So, Dave, where did you get your gold fleet numbers?
Where did I get my
gold fleet numbers?
Gold fleet numbers. Right. Good question.
I thought that was a good tie-in, actually, with something we were going to talk about later on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I actually have them here. So, yeah, yeah, it is getting a bit dark. I'll put this one on lock.
So, before Dave progresses, the information that he's going to give out tonight, we're going to share in the Facebook group, and then I will put that information into the description of the YouTube videos as from next week. So any mods or anything, we're going to start including that in the description down there somewhere. It's getting a little bit longer, but that's intentional. We want to get as much information in as we can. But tonight's information, because obviously anything in the chat won't appear in the video once the show has ended. So we'll share the information in Facebook, and then I'll take it from Facebook and I'll add it in the description. So don't worry if you miss it tonight.
So I actually belong to an awful lot of Facebook groups, and if you're not on Facebook, it's not all rubbishy things on Facebook. Sometimes it's quite useful, and if you're interested in something, especially, there'll probably be a group out there for you. Anyway, I own a couple of groups, and I belong to lots of groups, and one of the groups I belong to is a model bus group. There is people out there that do collect model buses, from very tiny ones to great big ones to generally the 1/76 scale they would collect. And there's lots of people that would repaint them and they obviously want transfers for them. And there is people out there that do make transfers. I don't know whether you can see this or not. So it might be some white balance from the light. Bring that closer to the camera, maybe. I don't know whether you can see. They're in a plastic bag.
You can chop those up and change the numbers if you want.
Well, I could do, but obviously I don't want to. I spec'd these to what I wanted. I wanted RM2208 for Christine's bus, and I wanted 803 for my bus. So that was the numbers, and then I think these will have to come out the plastic bag, because we'll just get weight balance from the plastic.
Yeah, they look amazing, don't they?
And these are
oh wow,
the pièce de resistance. These are
amazing
water slide transfers that have been handmade. Obviously they do cost a fair bit, but you pay for what you get. And I've got several sets. My bus is going to be the East Yorkshire one, and Christine's bus is going to be the Shillybere one, with the big omnibus. So, and obviously you can see them. The quality is absolutely superb. As well as that, I got for Christine's bus something which is fairly unique, and that is I got the roundels for Airbus, and the rose roundel, the one that's at the top there. The rose roundel is a very rare item indeed.
Wow.
And they're all handmade, and they're all on water slide backing.
Yeah, so I've always been scared of that. How easy is it to do that?
Well, I've done the fleet numbers on both buses on the fronts, and there was absolutely easy to do. You just simply cut out which ones you want. So let's say, for instance, we want 803. You would just simply cut them out in an oblong, so including the 803 in the oblong, and you'd get a dish of water, a shallow dish of water, and you would soak it into that dish of water for about 15-20 seconds, and then you would apply that to the model, because what had happened then in the water, it would actually soak off the backing paper, and you would end up with a film with the numbers, the gold numbers on. So, and that's your transfer. And so you then transfer that from the dish to the model and apply it to the model. And then you would simply get a bit of kitchen roll, a bit of toilet roll, perhaps, and just simply dab it very, very, very gently to smooth it out. And then you would apply, well, my friend here, he says, you know, you need some special stuff to apply on top of it to seal it. And it gives you full instructions. You don't use acrylic or solvent-based varnish, for instance. You would use model, some model wax, or some micro scale, or some decal fix, and to actually go over the decal, to go over the transfer, so to seal it into the paintwork, so that it wouldn't physically peel off. Now, my friend, they do call him Les Wrangle. That's Les Wrangle. And he's in Wellingborough in Northamptonshire. He has an email address. He has a Facebook account, and he will accept anything that you want to throw at him, within reason, of course. He normally deals in 176 scale models, but as you've quite well seen, he's done me 112 scale models. So if you're thinking of painting your bus, or you're thinking of putting a different type of transfer on, if you give him some photographs of what you want and the sizes that you want. That's most important is the sizes and a description and photographs. He will make you the transfers that you need. And to just quickly tell you his email address, if you want to write this down, it's Leslie.Wrangle. That's W.
Hang on a sec. Can you just say that again? Is that Lesley?
Lie. So it's Leslie dot Wrangle. That's Wrangle.
I'm sorry, you sound went a little bit funny. Can you pronounce that surname again?
Wrangle.
Spell it.
Wrangle.
Yeah.
1.
What, the number 1 or
the number 1? Yes.
Yeah.
So 1 at my post office.
Sorry, my post
office.
Yeah.
My post office .co.uk.
Hang on, right. My post office
dot.
Yeah.
Co. Dot.
Yeah.
UK.
Okay. Can you just check the chat? Just see if I've written that correctly. Oh, yeah. There we go.
Can't see the chat.
Okay, no problem. As I posted it, Horlicks and Mark Knight did it as well. So we've got it written 3 times. We've actually put 2 more links in. Sorry, I'm going to butt in, Dave. I do apologize. Okay. Horlicks has posted his wish list. I'd really appreciate it if you could all support Horlicks' wish list if you're able to. You know, people may consider this my show. It's on my channel. Not correct. It's our show, and Horlicks puts in as much effort, if not more, than I do. So if you love this show, please consider supporting Horlicks as well. And the link that I've put into a YouTube video, I haven't watched the video, but it's a video on applying water slide transfers. But what I tend to find with YouTube is that if you watch a video, it comes up in the watch next list, related videos. So if you're not happy with that video, it should teach you something, because it's called Applying Water Slide Transfers, a Beginner's Guide. And then that could lead to other things. But it's one of those things. I find water slides, they're easy to do once you've done them. If you've never done them, they might as well be rocket science. But once you've done them, they are easy.
I think the only reason I asked, because I'm sure I've seen, I don't know whether it may have been World of Wayne or someone did something and it looked terribly difficult, and they had a pair of tweezers and it kept folding over and it just looked really scary, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, the way I do it, I was trying to find, I saw one come out on Warhammer TV. A lovely chap called Duncan did it, and he does it a very similar way to me. And one thing he mentioned is that water slide transfers will not set if there's water in there. So long as you keep them wet, you've got as long as you want to apply them. And the way I've always applied water slide transfers is to wet. If you're going to put a transfer, say, on there, wet the target, then apply the transfer. Then you can, with a toothpick or something, maneuver it, and then get a cotton bud or a piece of tissue and just gently dab one side, and then work it across until it, but you can work it as if it's a 0.5 millimeter out and you're not happy, so long as it's wet underneath, you can still move it. And that's the trick. And also what you want to do is, I'm trying to find something little. I'm making, oh, here we go. Right. So if this is, I know it's a piece of wood, but if that's the water slide transfer on there, what I try to do is position it next to where I want it. Remember, all of this is wet. And then with, say, a knife, just slide it across. Yeah. Don't try and lift it up and place it down. That's why it's going to fold. So long as you drag it across gently, and if it's wet enough, it will drag. But drag it from the very end and pull it. And then take that piece of paper away and then position it. And, you know, it might try to move that way. So you move it back. And it's just, but yeah, Trevor Rodway just says time is very important. It is.
Yeah.
The longer you take, yeah, be patient.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry, Dave, I interrupted you mid-show, and I do apologise.
That's fine. I mean, I only explained it how really easy it was to apply these. I was actually dreading applying them. I have applied transfers before, but much bigger ones on real buses, and they're a similar sort of principle. And there was only a few seconds in the water. I used slightly warm water. I didn't use cold water. I used slightly warm water.
Okay.
And I just used a saucer and just put them in the saucer of water. Got my tweezers and made sure that there was underwater. They came off the backing paper within seconds. And then, as you rightly said, I did wet the surface that there was going on, but there was no real need to do that. They had enough moisture in them to move.
Right. I find quite often it depends on the quality of the transfer. Some of the manufacturers who use cheap ones, you really got to have a bit more water on them. But the better quality ones are a bit thicker, and I'll use the word glue for want of a better expression, but the bit that makes it stick to the surface, that tends to be a bit better quality.
Yeah.
Also, it may depend on the surface you're sticking it to as well.
Yeah. Well, Peter Whitlock just said make sure it's a gloss surface. What I would have been taught, I didn't do this as a kid, but what I got taught was, again, if this is what you're sticking it to, what I would do is I would paint the whole lot with gloss varnish. Then I would apply the transfer. Once that transfer is completely dry, I'll then paint over the whole lot with a matte varnish to bring it back down to matte. Plus, by applying matte varnish over the top, you're then sealing that. And if you should chip it, it won't come off.
Well, this is what you cannot do with these transfers. You cannot put your polyurethane varnish on. You cannot use that.
Can't. Okay, fair enough.
So that's what they use.
But if we're dealing with a painted bus, we're going to be applying it onto a glossy surface anyway, aren't we?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
So you're saying do not apply a varnish over the top?
A polyurethane synthetic varnish, anything like that? No. Use proper decal fix or the clear. If you can get it, I think you can only get it in the USA now. Clear Pledge floor polish, and that's a clear liquid that you actually apply. You can apply it before on your transfer, and you can apply after you've transferred, and it gives a sheen across your transfer, so it's non-scratchable.
Yeah, a lot of model makers use that. I think it's Pledge or something, and there is an equivalent in the UK, but it's not as good as the US one.
No, the old one used to be in a pink bottle, I think, and it used to be just called Clear with a K.
Yeah,
and
now
now it's called Clear with a K, but it's in a blue and white bottle, and you can only get it in the USA. Amazon do sell it actually.
Right. Well, maybe we've got a nice, kind person in America that could help us out. But then it might be cheaper to use Amazon. I'm pretty sure I've seen a video many years ago on YouTube on how to make it. But I don't quote me on that. So I'm just quickly checking the chat. Right, airport buses don't have any seats.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're like big stand-up ones. You get in and stand in them.
I didn't know that. The only airport bus I've ever driven, they were just normal service buses, but that was Bristol Airport.
I think it's more the terminal buses that you get on and take you across the runway. I remember
again, I've only ever been on one. That was in Romania, and I'm pretty sure no, I didn't have a seat, but I'm sure there were seats. I just found the Romanians very rude and pushing everyone out of the way, and I never got a seat. Got my own back on them, because when we got into Luton, I've got a US passport. When you get into Luton, you've got like 4 or 5 check-in areas for EU passports, and there was a queue a mile long on each one. But because I had a US passport, so I used the non-EU and diplomats line, and I think I must have been the only non-EU person in the entire airport, because I was walking past and going, hello, and I went all the way to the front, and check-in took me about 2 minutes. So haha to you horrible rude Romanians. But no, they just don't seem to have any manners at Romania. It just, everyone just barges out of the way, and you're like, whoa, you know, being brought up in Britain, I'm trying to queue, and I'm trying to find the queue to queue in, and just everyone, and I'm like, okay, not enjoying my time here. So, right, if I have missed anyone's chat, I apologize. Mark Knight means cheers or toast.
There's here is a picture of an inside of an airport bus.
Oh.
So I presume that's got no seats, so you can cram more people in.
Basically, yeah, you'll get in because you're only in it for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes.
Yeah. And there'll be no luggage, will there? Because they'll have already taken the luggage and they'll be loading that into the cargo hold.
Yeah, obviously you'll have your hand luggage, but yeah, I got on one in Tenerife, and it was because the airport was quite small. Like, it was a bus to ferry us from the aircraft to the terminal building.
To the terminal, yeah. I noticed there are some seats, so I assume that's for people who are like old people that can't stand long.
No, I think they're like little boxes to keep your luggage in if you want. They're like storage bins.
Oh, okay.
A bit like you would have on a normal bus at the front.
They look like seats.
Yeah. You can tell they've got like a railing all around them.
Oh, I can see. Yeah, you chuck your luggage in the middle.
If you want to. A bit like a normal bus when you put your shopping in the front.
Sorry, I've just spotted 2 comments that made me laugh. Stephen Owen says, talking of first bus check, I was watched by a manager this morning. He said, a good check. I said, well, I've been doing it this 27 years. And then Mark Knight says, 27 years must have been a ruddy big bus. Last time I got watched doing my first use check, I got criticised on one area, which is bodywork. Now, we have a little chart and we mark off all the scratches and dents and everything. And then I tick the bodywork. Now, tick means satisfactory, cross means unsatisfactory, and NA means not applicable. So like the lockers for it, or first aid kit. We have things like first aid kit on the first use check because we have private hire buses as well. So although service buses don't need a first aid kit, the private hires do. Now, I personally think not applicable. Not satisfactory means the bus shouldn't be on the road. So if you've got a few scratches and a couple of dents, that bus is still suitable for the road. So therefore you tick the box to say satisfactory, but then on the back you write defects, mild bodywork damage or whatever, and you've marked on the chart where it is. And I got told, no, you've got to put a cross in there. So I don't agree with it, but I do it the way the company wants me to do it.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I can see what you're saying now. Sorry.
Yeah.
The bus. There are seats, aren't they? The blue. I was looking at the middle bit, but I can see them now.
I can see the middle bit is for luggage, but the bits there looks like there's 8 seats there. There's 4 on this side and 4 on the other side.
They just look like big bins to me. Yeah.
Yeah. But I would imagine they're for people who can't stand up long, like, you know, old people. Yeah. So right. Trevor Rodway, spot on about the many issues I did earlier, Penny. I'm now subscribed. It was really slowed down, but I have my model railway to keep me busy. So good. At least you got something to keep you occupied then.
I've got sorry, just obviously Routemasters. Obviously, I didn't have a video come out Monday. That's because I think a lot of you had an email. I think actually all of the Hachette models had this email actually, because I think there was another build I saw. Someone said that they had a delay in their deliveries being dispatched.
Yeah,
which was another collection, but I only got my issues yesterday. So instead of rushing one out, I've just kept them all. I'm going to be a week behind, but I'm already behind anyway. But I'm thinking if there's
I don't see that as a problem, because if you now put your next issue out Monday, if there's a delay next month, if you're playing catch up and you get caught up within the next 3 weeks, and then there's a delay next month, you're then going to have another week with no video. So I think if you keep it a week behind, but what are you, 20 something issues behind?
Same as 20. No, well, once I've built these, I've got up to 58 now.
Right, so you are, let's call it 18 for sake of maths. What's the difference between 18 issues behind and 19 issues behind? Nothing. So I'd say put the next one out Monday, keep them weekly. If you've then got a delay, I mean, it might be you get your issues and then something happens at home and you can't even produce a video. You've now got an extra week buffer, haven't you? So just out of interest, when you get your 4 issues, do you make 4 videos in one go and then put one out a week, or do you do 1 issue a week?
Okay, it depends on the mood. All the Routemasters, normally I will just do the 1 issue a week. I normally film one on a Saturday or a Sunday.
Right.
The DeLorean, I've just received the 8 issues. I'm still waiting for the latest issues for that. I don't know what's going on with them, but I got last month's issues and I did film them all in one sitting because they were all like 3-4 minute videos, a lot of them. So I thought, while I'm here, I might as well just crack on and film the whole lot.
Fair enough.
So, but normally I do the Routemaster 1 a week. Sometimes I might do 2, depends on what I'm doing and how the mood takes me. But my next issue will be 55, and it'll be fixing the switches behind the door. So, and then obviously I've got my LEDs coming up in 58. I've got them in a package, which I got for the roof, and a heavy, I can't even remember what that is. I think that's the rear platform. So I've got the LEDs in the rear platform. I've got the roof, some of the roof panel, and I've got another roof panel with lots of small parts in it, springs, cables, and all sorts. So
you'll love that bit.
Yeah,
I've just realised we don't actually need to be here in the show. Everyone is very good at entertaining themselves. Mark Knight has said, of course there's a delay, it's a ruddy bus. And then Mark Osborne says, and then 4 comes along at once.
Yeah, definitely. But that's what I was going to touch on, actually. I don't know about anyone else, but whoever watches my latest video, I picked up that the used tickets was amended on mine. Looks like there's been a transfer put over the top of that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what mine looked like. Yeah.
So do you think that, again, they've used like a water slide thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do.
But I don't understand why they've amended it, because I can't see any spelling mistakes underneath.
The only thing I can think of is that they put a transfer on there and it wasn't quite in the right place. Someone at quality control said, no, we don't like it. Can you redo it? And they've gone, right, well, rather than reproducing all of the parts, we'll just stick another transfer over the top.
Yeah.
It's a little bit lame, but that's the best thing I can think of. Most realistic thing.
But it's either that or it's the transfer's been applied and then they've thought, oh, heck, we should have painted this.
Yeah.
I mean, the original positioning doesn't look too bad. It's all in there, so I'm not quite sure. But I think the decal looks worse because I've got paint bleeds on the sticker. The used ticket it's not. It looks like it looks even like it's been like sprayed, like a transfer that they've stuck on and sprayed, and then there's like a bit of paint flick or whatever you want to call it. On mine anyway. But yeah, it was just a bit interesting, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to hand back to Dave because Dave has got so much to show us and tell us. I think we're going to need him on every single week for the next month to catch everything up.
Well, I've just been saving bits up, really. But first of all, you all know that we're building 2 buses, both me and my wife, and mine's going to be an East Yorkshire one. And so it'll obviously look like that. Hopefully when it's done. And what we're going to do is either display them in home or take them out and display them at different shows. Perhaps that's not set in stone, but that's perhaps. But if we do display them, obviously I'd like to display them in size relation, so in scale relation, from the very smallest one we could find in our liveries that we're doing them in to the very biggest one. And obviously the very biggest one is the one that we're all doing, the Hachette one, the 112 scale. The next one, the next one down would be the 124th scale.
Yeah.
The Sunstar Routemaster. Now they don't actually produce one in the colours that I'm doing mine, the East Yorkshire one. They're all either London Transport or green or whatever. They do actually produce one in Christine's livery, but not in mine. So I purchased a Sunstar Routemaster quite a while back now, and it had a few bits missing and some scratches and what have you. And I said to myself, right, I'll spray it in the colours of East Yorkshire, and there's the roof. Got the roof section.
Oh, very nice.
Got the roof section base coated.
Did you say you haven't got? Did you say you haven't got? Sorry, Dave.
Go on.
Yeah. Did you say you haven't got issue 72 yet?
Not today, no.
Right.
72.
Now, you know I don't like to share the articles with everyone because obviously I'm worried about copyright, but I'm going to read you the title and the headline of an article from issue 72.
Okay.
Are you sitting down?
Yeah.
Calm. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So the title is A Special Celebration. And the subheading goes like this. One of the more unusual liveries given to the Routemasters was the Schiller livery. This was given to a number of vehicles in 1979 to celebrate 150 years of omnibuses on London streets.
Wow.
Does that get you really excited?
Yes.
That's a big spoiler for you. The I mean, there's some wonderful pictures, but I can't see anything in color. Well, there's a little color one, but it's. If I said there was a bus known as Rocky, does that mean anything to you?
Rocky the Routemaster is RM2208.
That's the one. That's the only picture that's in color.
Yeah, well, actually, I've seen Rocky the Routemaster in real life.
This may well be your favourite issue of the entire build, then.
Excellent. Then. Well, that's obviously the Shilly Beer Routemaster is Christine's. That's their build, and I've actually trekked myself, I've trekked Christine really, because it's her bus.
Yeah, those transfers you held up, they were 2208, weren't they?
2208, yeah.
So you've got reference picture for you.
So we've got a 176 scale one there. Look, ready to go beside her 112 scale.
Lovely.
So now we've got the 176. We've got the smaller one, and we haven't got the 150th yet. And we've got the 124th Sunstar one, and we'll have Christine's. So there'll be five in total. And they'll be going down in size and displayed like that. So that's the idea. And but yeah, Rocky the Routemaster RM2208 used to belong to a good friend of mine, and he has actually been advising me on the livery. He gave me the proper paint codes for it, the proper green and the proper sun yellow, and he told me how he restored this bus. He told me where to get the real transfers if necessary. He sent me pictures of the transfers on the side, and he sent me a picture of the rose roundel that was very rare. So I will mention his name, and that's Malcolm King. Is a jolly good.
You have now got a reference shot in issue 72. So tomorrow you can go running down the newsagents, banging on the door, going, "Hurry up and open! We need this magazine."
Yeah. Well, there's a bit of a to do with our newsagents today. The lovely people are our newsagents, and they have my delivery every week without fail, and they really are lovely. And in fact, as soon as I walk in the door, it's there on the counter, you know. They know exactly what I've come for.
All the ones to get late, it has to be this one, doesn't it?
Well, apparently the delivery driver had it on his van in a box with a load of other magazines, and he didn't actually deliver it to that shop. He just went off in his van, and he said to her, she did ring him, and she said, well, you'll have to bring us it back because we've got this customer waiting. We've got customers. Anyway, he said he would bring it back tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm just going to quickly answer Paul. Paul has said that if copyright was an issue, you probably wouldn't get away with showing the building instructions. We had a big discussion about this because we actually scan and put the build instructions on the Facebook group. The way we see it is the build instructions are no good if you haven't got the parts, and the only way you're going to get the parts is to buy the magazine. So therefore, we figure we're sharing stuff that you'd have to own. The actual articles, if you're buying this for the articles, and then obviously we scan the issue in or show you the issue, you now don't need to buy the issues to get the articles. I personally think the articles are as interesting as the build, but you don't need to buy it to. If you copied my magazine, you've got the article now. You don't need to buy it. But if build instructions interest you and you decide to copy them, they're still no good to you unless you've got the parts, and the only way you get the parts is to buy them. That's just the way we figure. Oh, Davies has remind us we haven't shown next week yet. So I'll let Dave carry on for a minute. I'm just going to take 10 seconds out to check my print. Well done. Don't worry, Dave, I can still hear you.
Okay, that's fine.
Getting on.
Okay, well, I was showing you this Sunstyle roof. Obviously, it's got to have the white and the cream added along the top decks there. There is a cream band on the bottom deck too that obviously I need to do. So there's lots of work to do on that, but I'm looking forward to it, and I've made a start. So, and the paint's just hardening really. So we're on with that. And then I went to a show about 3 weeks ago now, something like that, and I was exhibiting something of my other hobby, and actually won first prize. So, and which I'm quite pleased about. So I was lucky enough to win a first prize. And
congratulations!
I've actually been going to this show for 51 years now. So.
Wow.
I was quite chuffed with that. And then at the same show, I have a good friend who always comes and sees me.
I've got to turn away here because this makes me so jealous.
A good friend that always comes and sees me. And I asked a few weeks ago if I could have one. And he said, how many dozen do you want? And I said, well, just one will do. Just one will be fine. And he gave me a proper Routemaster blind. And it's massive, you know, it's the proper Routemaster blind. So I said, well, that'll come in handy if we're displaying, exhibiting somewhere, because we can have that as a backdrop, can't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm just so jealous, Dave.
So, and further to that, if anybody does donate anything to us or helps us in any way, shape or form with these buses that we're going to be displaying, I'm building a list of people who've actually helped us. And there's obviously there's several people on this list. If I've bought a part off you, or you know you've been kind enough to give me something, or even down to this show, you know, I've made a note of it, and that will be displayed when I'm displaying these models. Probably in my home at first, and if I get the permission off everybody to sort of display their name, I won't say what they've actually done towards the build, because that would be unfair. But what I will say is just like a thank you to them all.
Yeah. Just a little thing like, with thanks to the following who have helped me with the build.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing, if that's okay with everybody.
That's a really nice thing to do. That is,
and so obviously, and that list is ginormous already, with people that have helped in any small way whatsoever. It's actually ginormous, and
I find that you can probably do everything on your own, but with the help of everyone, it makes it so much easier. But
so much easier.
These hobbies, a lot of times, so many people will just jump to your help, and if you did, you know, it's really a case of you have to start off by saying, so many to list, I'm sorry if I miss anyone out, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's well, you know, as it's progressed, I've been making this list, and you know, the guy who gave me this destination, he's on it now, and you know, there's several people on it that I don't want to mention right now, but everybody, you know, including like yourself, Penny, and yourself, Horlicks, you know, you've obviously helped me in the past. Other YouTubers, other people, you know, Fleetwood J there, he's helped me. You know, there's been a lot of people, and a lot of YouTube channels, a lot of websites, a lot of individuals, and a lot of companies, which I'm going to obviously thank in written form.
So by the sounds of it, there's so many people that have helped you out so far. you wouldn't need to ask permission to show it because the names would be so small. Because of this, it'll just be a blur.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. By the time we've finished.
But
yeah.
no, that's really...
461 is now offering his help, which I think that's testament to this hobby, isn't it? Everyone will jump in. To be honest with you, a lot of help that I've given, people appreciate it more than I think I've given effort. You know, people have asked me for a bit of advice, and I've said, well, I think this, and that's taken no effort at all to say that. And in fact, I don't even say it, you know, like, for example, someone will send me a message and I might be driving. So I might take 4 or 5 hours to respond. And I'm like, well, I'd do this. And they're like, oh, wow, that's really appreciated. And I'm like, well, no effort, really. And I think a lot of people help and they don't feel it's an effort. So they're happy to do it.
Yeah. I was actually going to say, sorry, just to remind you while I remember, obviously I've received my roof, which I'll be filming soon. And you did, I think, offer Penny to send me half of some posters you got.
Oh, yes. Oh, right.
Do you know where they are, or shall I just crack on and order some?
I think I saw them the other day when I was having that mad, frantic look for the bearings for Saturday. I think I came across them. No, they won't be in the drawer because the drawer's too small. Oh, I was so embarrassed. Sorry, go on, Dave.
Did I win some in a competition as well?
Oh, God. I'm useless. I am so useless. Yeah. Well, look how long it took you to get the multimeter off me.
Well, that's much appreciated. Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Yeah. Is there anybody else who won any that? I know one set we had trouble giving them away, didn't we? Because someone won them and they said, oh, no, give them to someone else who wants them. And so we offered them to someone else and they said, no, give them to someone else that wants them.
Yeah,
everyone was just being so kind and saying, no, give them to someone else who wants them. And everybody was like, give them to someone else. And it's, you know, that's how kind we all are. You know, there's some people out there that would be like, yeah, I've won it 10 times. Yeah, I'll have 10 copies, even though I'm not going to use 9 of them, but I'll have them anyway. But with this group, it's like, no, I'd rather someone who's less fortunate than me have them, you know, a £5 set of, what I'll do, I'm feeling generous at the moment. Oh, by the way, quick slight change of subject. I think I have definitely got that rota. So I will be working more hours 5 days a week, but I won't be able to host the show one week in 4. So we need to sort out what we're going to do. I'd love to see the show still go on the night that I'm off. Because at least then when I've got a break or something, I can watch something then, can't I? And it'd be nice to sort of say hello, but yeah, it's I'll get some sets sorted out. I'll get them ordered probably tomorrow.
Well, if Horlicks is willing to do like you said before, to carry the show on one in every 3 weeks.
An offer we've had is Adrian stepped up and said, well, I can always build. Horlicks can still do what Horlicks does, and then Adrian will build. Yeah. And then if you make hang on. Yeah, Adrian's checking his mailbox every day for a parcel from someone. I can't think who you'd be waiting for a parcel from, Adrian. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm totally useless, and I know someone else is going to jump in a minute and go, yeah, I'm still waiting for my R2D2 hinges. So I'm sorry. You gotta love me, warts and all. If you love me for the show, love me for my uselessness as well. It's what makes me unique. But yeah, it's the show. I'd love. I mean, could you help us out, Dave?
I could with Horlicks. Yeah, I could do something with. I mean,
Well, that's what I was going to suggest. Like, but my sound went off earlier because my speakers are naff. You know what they're like; they keep cutting out. But I was thinking, yeah, maybe if on that 4th week that you can't do, perhaps I could do it and have Dave on.
Yeah. Obviously,
again,
we appreciate you have a life, Dave, and things come up in your life, and you know.
Yeah.
And the same with Fleetwood, who's just jumped in and offered to help.
So
what if I offer the show to Horlicks, and Horlicks organises the show for the weeks that I can't do? I'm quite happy for somebody else to build that week, and then I'll do a catch up off screen so that the following week I'm up to where we should be, or I can rebuild the next week, and then obviously once we get to the figure, things will start to catch up a little bit. But if I just hand the show over to Horlicks, and Horlicks, you organise it.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I'm not quite sure how it would format would be, because obviously I'm behind, and chances are I might have already filmed them. So it's going to be hard knowing what to film.
Bit difficult, isn't it, really? Because I'm normally 4 or 5 issues behind on average. I'm 8 issues behind. No, 7 issues behind at the moment. So that's, even though I normally get the parts on a Wednesday. So that would be quite an issue for me to do, really. I'd have to bring one of our builds up to speed, or both of our builds right up to speed, which could be done.
I don't want to put you under too much pressure to do a catch up. I mean, Adrian, I don't know if the offer still stands, but Adrian Langley said that he's usually up to date, so he could build that issue on the show. Fleetwood Jay's just suggested maybe we do a chat show. Maybe people could come in and ask questions and say, oh, well, could you just explain this bit again? I'm sure we could. If we're knowing about this 4 weeks in advance, once you've done a show, then you'll know your next show is in 4 weeks. So maybe Fleet was just said that he could build it on here as well. But you'll know the next show for you is going to be in 4 weeks. So maybe sort of plan a few things and save it for that week. Just see how it goes.
Yeah, it's something we can obviously chat about.
I mean, the hardest show is always the first one. The first live show I did was awkward. The first show that me and Horlicks did together was a little bit awkward. I remember me and Adrian Langley's first show, that was awkward. And our first 3D print show on the Saturday was, you look at the last one we did, we're only up to the 3rd one, but I think that 3rd show is so much better than the first one because we've started to find our flow. And I think that's how it would go with you. It might be a little bit awkward because you've got to kind of figure out how to work with each other, and you get that. Do you agree, Horlicks?
Yeah, definitely.
You might disagree with the print show. You might not think the 3rd one was the best one, but
it was a good show. I think the way he presented it, but I think the actual build wasn't that great.
Yeah, well, we on paper the looked okay, but when we started to get down to it, by the way, I have got me 4mm rod.
Cool.
If you remember, I'd lost one in the post. I couldn't be bothered dealing with Banggood anymore, so I bought another one off eBay. But I bought a rod, and it turns out this is the only tube that's going to have wires going through the middle, and I had a rod rather than a tube, so I've had to £8 it cost me, but it came within 2 days, so it's worth it to me. So I'm all ready for Saturday with my little rod now.
Put it somewhere safe.
Say again?
Put that somewhere safe.
Yeah, it's very safe. It's in the orrery box.
Right.
But yeah, we'll see how the show goes. I'll get my phone out and I'll tell you exactly when the next show is that I'll miss.
Chris is like, oh, I'm a comedy show. I'm no good at comedy.
Yeah, I think the comedy that we have is just more situational, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. So next week, I'm actually off work on the Wednesday all day. I got Tuesday and Wednesday off, so that's going to be amazing. The following week, I should make the show because I'm 6 o'clock spare. The following week, I'm 5 o'clock, so I definitely should. So the first show that I will miss will be the 31st of July, and then it'll be every 4 weeks from then. So we got plenty of time. We've got 4 weeks. If I was already on the spare rota, I would actually be missing tonight. How can I lose anything? My space is so small. Yeah, I can do anything spectacular, like lose things. I have things right in front of me, and I turn over there and I look back and they're missing. That's how amazing I am. So, oh, my landlord, saw my landlord at the weekend, and I don't know if what he's going to do is going to be brilliant or not, but he's going to be building me a shed in the back garden to put things in. So I've got more space to mess up now. So I don't know if that's good or not. Yeah, Chris says I'm like a magician. I'm like a magician in reverse. A magician can pull out things from a hat. I can make things disappear into a hat.
Maybe maybe it was your landlord's subtle hint to say your room is a mess. I'm going to build you a shed so you can tidy up.
Well, yeah, I mean, he knows I want to tidy up. The problem I'm having is that I need to clear a space to make that space for something, but I've got nowhere to put. There's a corner just down there that's full of boxes, and I'm going to put my big printer down there, but I'm going to have to remove 2 shelves.
That's it. I don't see a mess. I think everything does look fairly organised.
It's
but
yeah.
all I can see is empty boxes everywhere. I think you hoard empty boxes.
Yeah, I'm more of a I have everything in that pile over there. So yeah, here's me on here live admitting I'm messy as anything. But yeah, I try. Yeah, once I get things organized, and I know I've been saying that for probably well over a year now, but I keep trying to get help, and no one turns up, or they're not interested.
I'm gonna have to come up on for the weekend.
You might have to, but you'll probably tell me off so much.
You won't be able to cope because you'll be having. Oh, I'm just gonna go and have a little lay down. No, get up. Come on.
Yeah, that is. Well, see, this week's been terrible. I have absolutely no shame in admitting that I'm not a physical worker. I can't work. I'm not as strong, and I don't have stamina. And doing these buses on Sunday, I'll admit, might have been a mistake. Getting a pressure hose, a washer, for 5 minutes, that is extremely good fun. Doing it for 10 hours isn't as much. My hands were aching where I was. I mean, as soon as I picked the pressure washer up and tried it, it nearly flew me across the yard. I didn't realize it had that much pressure. What did help? Can you believe this? We've got a young apprentice boy there, and he says, "No, don't hold it underneath. Hold it on top, because you're pushing it down rather than pulling it down."
Yeah.
But also, I did a lot of shunting because I wasn't. The other lads, you watch them wash the buses; they were brilliant. And but we had in one area we had 2 pressure washers, both running off the same hose, so they only had half the power, and it was like the pressure coming out of the pressure washer was more like weed killer than a pressure washer. And so what we started off doing was lightly wet the bus and then go over it with a brush. But then they had no soap. So we had to go and buy fairy liquid. And then we were washing the buses down. And then we were trying to get the suds off. And then they broke down. So we moved over to a different pressure washer, a good one. And what I did when I kind of flanked a bit, I was going and getting buses and I was lining them all up. So you had about 15 in a row, which then cleared the main bus park so we could then line up the clean buses. Well, what that actually meant was I probably walked about 15 by walking around and around the depot getting buses and moving them. I probably walked about 15 miles. So by the time I got home Sunday, I was in so much pain. So I went straight to bed, got up the next day, 5 o'clock for a 6 o'clock start. And I was aching. I felt like I'd been in a trash compactor or something. So when I came home Monday, I went straight to bed on Monday. I was just so sore. And today's actually the first day I felt 100% better. But 10 hours work has resulted in about me losing about 20, 30 hours spare time because I've not physically been able to do anything. I've just come straight home and gone straight to bed. So yeah, when you're at work and they say, oh, can you do 2 hours overtime when you finish your duty? You only lose 2 hours. Yeah. But when I did what I did on Sunday, I lost a lot more than 10 hours because I'm doing stuff I'm not you. Like I say, I have no shame in admitting that I have no strength. My job is sitting and doing more mental work than physical. And suddenly I'm 10 hours physical work. That's why I don't do physical work. I'm no good at it.
Well, I know what you mean as well, because I used to be a valeter and I used to work at I don't know if most of you probably heard of the chain ARC or IMO.
Yeah.
When you go in, you do a pre-wash before it goes into the machine. And I used to do that. And yeah, for 8-9 hours a day, I used to be with a pressure washer doing everyone's cars. And it is really hard work.
Yeah.
You know, it was fun. I've got like an OCD with it. And I just love cleaning stuff with the jet wash. But
it's funny, one area that I really loved doing was you pull the fuel flatboat button and you've got all that gunk from all the spilled diesel and so the only way I could describe it looked like big drips of candle wax or lard. And you get the pressure washer in there and the bits just fly everywhere and within seconds it's like clear. And I'm like, and I did enjoy shoving the pressure washer up the exhaust pipe and watching all that black crap come out.
I didn't the buses.
No, it won't hurt them. And the wheels, because when the bus wash is working, it doesn't get in the wheels. It's two brushes on the side and one on the top. So it doesn't actually get in the wheels. And some of our buses have been repainted with silver wheels, but a lot of the buses, you're looking at it and they're brown wheels, and a lot of the wheels are quite rusty. So you give them a quick going over with a pressure washer, suddenly you see this silver line and you realize they're not rusty. They've just got a big buildup of crap. So then you get in there and all of a sudden you've got a bus that's got 4 silver wheels and you're like, wow, they're silver. And that was quite satisfying.
I love that. I think I could work at your depot just cleaning buses all day, all week. Do you think they'd have me?
They probably would have you, but
full-time bus washer.
Yeah, possibly. I tell you what, we could do with a good cleaner on the inside because
I'm good with a Henry.
Oh no, we don't do Henry. I'll tell you what, we have
more like Tesco Value that don't suck.
We have 2 people that do what we call a deep clean. So they do all the inside. They spray the windows with this stuff and they clean it all off and they really scrub. And one of the women was they do like 4 or 5 buses a night. That's how long it takes them to do it. And she was telling me about her first day, and it took her all night to do 1 bus. and everyone was having a go at her because she was so slow. But now she's the fastest one in the depot. It's just where she's got used to the job. And then we've got one of the bus cleaners. We're just talking about a quick sweep and mop, but she does at least 25 double deckers in a night, and she's really quick. But she's been doing it a long, long time. So, but I used to, the companies I've worked at where you have to clean your own bus at night, I hate doing that. But when you get to the end of the day, the last thing you want to do is clean. You just want to go home, don't you?
Yeah.
Because one of the great things about this company is because we don't handle cash. We have a little thing, and you just put your money in, and we don't give change. And we don't have that 5 minutes at the end of the day where you have to pay your money in. And it's when you've had a really tiring day and you've still got to pay your money in, it's such a chore, and it's such a nice thing. The guys, some of our guys, they've only ever worked for our company, so they don't know what it's like to pay the money in. But not having to pay in at the end of the day, and just get away 5 minutes earlier. Some of them just don't know how nice that is.
Yeah.
So anyway, Mark Osborne's now on us about the next issue. Do you want to bring that up?
Yeah, I was going to say that, and then obviously we need to go back to Dave because he was just about to explain about his 124 scale.
Oh yeah, we keep interrupting Dave. Dave must hate us, really.
So next week, build the Routemaster. Seats are fitted to the front section of the upper deck, and the deck is complete. So, I think it
looks like we're going to do exactly the same as we've done this week. And that shut everyone up.
Yeah, great.
So yeah, I think you're right. It's going to be basically the same as this week. We'll be attaching the seats, attaching that panel to the two that you did today, and then that should be the upper deck complete.
Yeah, I'm gonna just quickly show you this. I'm gonna go over to DigiCam. Earlier on, I put my seats on top of the bus. I don't know if you can see. I can't see it that well, but the seats. You see, I've put the top deck on the bottom deck. So what we've completed so far is pretty much exactly the same length as the bottom deck. But obviously with that third piece that we're going to put on, that's going to bring it out to, so I'm just trying to move across. So that's going to bring it from there to there. So this bit's obviously going to go about there. So that extension at the front is going to come up to about there, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that, I think next week, I'm getting really excited. I say, oh, yeah, don't pick that up with one hand. That just put a really big bend in that then. Yeah, although I've said, oh, it's the same as this week and it's a little bit boring doing the seats. Actually, I'm quite excited because it's gonna push that extra length and it's gonna add a lot to the bus. So yeah, I think that's actually gonna be really exciting. So yeah, I can't wait till next week. So also, when's the next figure due? 67, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 2, 72? That can't be.
That can't
74.
be right.
74.
So what was that? So I've just seen this comment from Mr. Horlicks. I have some you can have. What's? Sorry, I can't remember what we were talking about.
No, I can't either.
So sorry. So Dave,
yeah,
you were talking about your 24 scale, 124 scale. You were showing us the roof.
Yeah, I've done that. I've done that. Yeah, yeah. I've got to line it out with the weight on the top. Give you the 176 to have a look at. You see, it's got a weight band on the top,
Yeah.
On the roof, and then there's 2 cream bands on the. That's actually primrose. 2 cream bands on the upper deck, and so obviously this roof, it's got to have the white on, and then a cream band there and a cream band at the bottom, and then it can go back together once that's done. If I can get the cream bands on all right. I'm debating whether to spray the cream bands. I have got some spray, or hand paint them. My fear is getting the tape not to stick so hard to the paint, so to peel it off. Do you know what I mean? So if I can get low tack tape.
I was going to say, I would recommend Poundland for that, because the masking tape isn't very sticky, is it, Penny?
No, but also a trick that a lot of people use is they get the masking tape, they then stick it to something, and they pull it up, and then they stick it to the model. By sticking it to something first. Not anything that gives, like, don't stick it, like, for example, to your trousers, because it'll pick up little bits of lint. But if you stuck it to the table and then lifted it off, it then loses a little bit of its tack. But experiment with it first. But Tamiya do some really good. It's quite expensive, but Tamiya do some good masking tape.
I've got some Tamiya tape, and I've tried it, and it's been absolutely terrible.
Right. But also, if you're going to mask off a large area, don't mask it all off with masking tape. Stick it to a bit of paper. Newspaper's probably best. Well, you probably know that from doing cars and things, where you lay a newspaper all over it, and then you just tape the end. But just make sure you push down the end.
That's it.
But but usually masking tape is all right. If you leave it on for weeks and weeks and weeks, then it will pull the paint off. But for a couple of days, it should be fine. But try it, you know.
I'll have a go and see what I can come up with.
Maybe I mean, I don't know whether you've got a space inside the bus that's painted. You could maybe apply a little bit of test masking tape and then peel it off, because then you wouldn't see it from the inside.
Yeah, see what you mean. Like use that as a test piece inside.
Yeah,
maybe. Inside that,
maybe paint a bit of that, and then maybe do a test piece if you know, just in case. But as Penny said, I'm sure it'll be fine. If it's days.
Yeah, well, what I'll do is I'll get some clean plastic, and I'll do as Penny says, and I'll stick it to clean plastic, the tape, and then apply that to the model, and then that'll make it low tack tape. And then use other tape to tape to that tape, and then put newspaper in between. So
take care, Stuart Sullivan. Thanks ever so much for joining us. With the bands on mine, I'm really lucky, because what Newport do is in the gap between where the colors are, they have a little tiny strip of like black rubber or something. So I get a really tiny, really thin, probably a piece of dowling or something, and then file it down so it's a half circle, and then I'll just mask it. And if doesn't matter if it's slightly rough, because it will be covered over with a piece of. So I'll actually be putting, what do you call it, beading or something? Like a dado rail.
Beading,
So I'll just cover it up for mine anyway. So is there anything else?
No, I think that's covered everything.
Okay. What's interesting is I mentioned about the figure. I'm pretty sure 67 was the last figure, which means that 74 would be the next figure, won't it? But Adrian says that 74 isn't a figure. So maybe we're not getting them every 7 weeks now. So
might get them every 10.
Yeah. So that'd be, I mean, I'm up for that. As long as we're not getting a figure every pack, I can live with it. But yeah, I was expecting it this because we didn't get one on the last pack. So it's every other pack normally, isn't it? But if we haven't got one this week, hopefully I'll find out tomorrow. But Adrian, if you've got your next 4 packs, obviously you've got, I don't know if you've looked at issue 74, opened it up, but what does the picture say for what's coming next in issue 75? I know we're looking a long way ahead. Yeah, is it a figure? Be interesting, because if they're going to be every 10, then that means the next figure will be 77.
Yeah.
So or maybe they'll finish the roof off and then put more figures in. I don't know. Mark Knight, yeah, we can print some 3D figures. It's something I've still got to work on. The one that I did before, what did we say? It was ever so slightly too big, wasn't it? Just slightly. So I probably need to take about 2 or 3% off that. But I've got to print him off, and then I've got to make a miniature copy of classic Routemaster. So I'll do issue 1, and I'll reproduce this in 1:12 scale, so it'll look like he's reading. Yeah, reading, and I'll call it like the Routemaster paradox. The guy is sitting in a completed bus, reading the instructions on how to build the bus. Yeah. Or maybe he can be Horlicks Mark II, and he's actually starting his build much later than ours. So be good if we get a young lad actually, and then maybe I can get the Routemaster magazine. I'll give it to the young lad reading a book. That'd be quite a good one. Yeah. So would be amusing to see a small dog 3D printed, cocking its leg up to the rear wheel. Yeah, yeah. But small dog, you can get 1:12 scale, because 1:12 seems to be a popular doll's house scale. So there's lots of things you can get if you can get anything from Doll's House World. But some of the figures I've seen, they look more like China ornaments to me than realistic figures. Sorry, Chris, I'm not ignoring you. Jag build, yeah, I am going to start that. I need to talk to you about it. All right, okay, Adrian, you haven't got your issues yet. That's fine. So it'll be interesting to see, because obviously it's funny, isn't it? We get our 4 subscription copies, and rather than jumping in and building, the very first thing we do is we open the last one up to see what's coming the next month. So that's how impatient we all are.
I've just realised, Penny, you're extremely naughty.
I'm extremely naughty.
Where's your uniform?
Do you know what? I was a little bit late coming back from work, so I'm still in my I'm still in my work clothes. You always tell when I'm in my work clothes, because I have this is my work bag. This is everything I need for work. It's got a pouch for my diary, so I've got all my shifts listed. Then the second pouch is for my mobile phone, and the most important one of all, the one at the front, is just the right size for my cigarettes. And that's my and it's got my pen in as well, because you got to have a pen for your first use checks. And then I've got my round to it. Whoops. So the story behind this is that, how many times have you said I'll do that when I get around to it? So now I own a to it, and it's round, so now I can get on with all those jobs. I've got my little key for the canteen. We've got this thing called Green Road on our bus, which measures our driving, how good we are. So if you start flinging your bus at high speed round corners and sending all your old ladies up against the window, you get a really bad score. And just to show how brilliant I am, I pay my pound to the Transport Benevolent Fund. So if ever I'm in trouble, they will help me out. And that's my work gear. Now, we don't have bus keys. Some of the buses I've driven have, but these have got keys permanently in the ignition. But a couple of our buses, we have like a secret button. So you press the start button, but you've got another secret button you've got to press as well. In Norwich, some of the buses, if you press the start button, but without pressing the secret button under the dashboard, all it does is just sets the alarms off. And that's quite amusing when we tell the newbies, go and get that bus started up. And then a couple of minutes later, you hear, woo, 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 woo. And you're like, yeah, who's told the newbie to start the bus up again? So, but you've got to have your little pranks, haven't you?
Yeah.
So I think the mechanics pranked me this morning, because I was looking for someone and they said, oh yeah, he's down the bottom end of the yard. Mark, his name was. And I said, oh, I'm looking for Mark. And he went, yeah, he's at the top end. And I'm like, I've just come from the top end. And I went back up the top end. And he went, yeah, he's definitely down the bottom end. I said, this is the same as sending me to the stores for long wait and a left-handed screwdriver, isn't it? He went, yeah, like that. So, and also, remember those prints I broke last week that I did in PETG?
Yeah.
We printed them, and much as the sound might sound like it, these are not solid, but they are extremely. I did this with Dave before the show. These are I've put. I think what I'd done is I'd done them like a 0.1 layer height with a 0.1 wall thickness with 3 layers, so they're only 0.3 mil thick. But these have been done so that the walls are 1 millimeter thick, and they're a lot tougher. So I am really, really happy with PETG. But I've tried the yellow one, and I did check the print just now, and I'm up to like 96%. So I'm estimating that. So I've just, yeah. So I'm estimating it's going to take about another hour to finish. So which is a bit, I'm not going to run the show till 11:30 just to hear. Dave, you on mute? Is that, oh, you took it. I didn't know if I'd accidentally muted you. So yeah, I'll show you next week, but next week I might have the other half done as well. So it's just R2D2's foot, but the yellow pro, you saw the picture earlier on, didn't you?
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
And I'm, yeah, I mean, it's the word basics makes it look like it's not very good, but I mean, look at that. That was the print just before the show went live, and I'm really, really, and I actually ran that. It was probably going to fail. I thought it was going to fail. I ran the speed up to 140%, and the only thing I don't like about it is the infill is it's a little bit rough and missing in places, and a couple of times the nozzle got stuck, and I just sort of clicked it, but it went fine. But I think the PETG is that strong that what I could probably do is reduce the infill down to 0 and then increase the thickness of the wall. So it will be hollow in the middle, but it will be a lot thicker on the wall, and it'll be a much easier print, because infill seems to make it struggle a little bit. It does crisscrossing, and it does it rather quickly. So, but then I could turn the infill down, couldn't I? Speed down. So, but you know, PETG is a new material for me. I'm still playing with it, but at a very rough stage, I'm still getting a good result. So I really can't complain.
Could you put the temperature up slightly just so it doesn't cool down so quick? Or
yeah, I did. that temperature is actually now higher than the temperature says on the product. But the thing that worries me is because it's such a tall print, the bed is 100 degrees. It's 250 degrees coming out of the nozzle. But the bit in the middle is stone cold because the heat hasn't penetrated from the top or the bottom. So, but that might be better because it's going to be less likely to, because it's gone really solid. But what I have discovered is that to get it off the bed, you actually have to reheat the bed just to soften it a little bit, and then you can get the spatula underneath. That's why I broke it last week. It kind of welded itself to the bed, and I ripped a hole in the bed. So, but I bought a new one anyway. But yeah, for the first time I've ever used it, and I went straight in with a big print, which is, in hindsight, is probably a silly thing to do, isn't it? Oh, here's a material I've never used. Oh, I'm going to do a massive print just to test it out. So yeah, it's come out really good. I just love that printer, and I'm looking at ways to rearrange my shelves so that I can get 4 printers on there. My addiction has just grown now because I really love that little Ender 3, and it's such a cheap printer.
Yeah, I know. I am planning to get one at some point, as I said last week. But
I want to work all the overtime I can in the world and buy everyone who hasn't got a 3D printer an Ender 3, because you've all got to share my experience. But glad these have been done. Actually, I'll give you. Here you go, look. I know you can't sort of hear the strength, but this is the PETG, and this is PLA. You can hear the strength, can't you? Or maybe you can't. I don't know. Did you hear the difference?
Sounds harder, yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, I know it's different shape and size, but that's PET. That's PLA.
Yeah.
And that's the PETG. It sounds more solid.
Yeah.
And it is. This is a little bit flexible. That's solid. What I'm going to do at some point in the future, you know, the little rods I made for the original stand that I made, that's now been replaced by the wooden stand. I'm going to print, because they're about that long, so I'm going to print a couple of those off, one in PLA and one in PETG, and I think what I'll do is I'll actually try and break them, and I'll see how hard it is to break them.
Yeah.
Oh, Trevor Rodway, that is the most awful joke. A friend of mine loves reading bus timetables. He leads a very sheltered life.
Sheltered.
Yeah. Like a friend of mine, he worked for horses. Of course, he wanted a stable job. Caldecott Bus Spotters, how are you? Haven't really seen much of you lately, have I? Yeah, someone on YouTube has an Iron Man costume. Would that be? I've forgotten his name now. Oh, basically, the guy builds robots, and he's absolutely amazing at building stuff. He's actually built or is building a walking dog, and it does actually properly walk. It's absolutely amazing.
Wow.
So yeah, you know, I had a joke the other day, but it was a little bit of an obscure one, and no one laughed except me. I thought it was amusing, but oh, your phone broke, so you can't film. Yeah, if anybody wants to check out Caldecott Bus Spots, he films a lot of buses as they go through Caldecott. Nice guy, actually. Poor guy's got a bit of a. We got this annoying guy on Facebook that just likes to have a go at buses. but he's one of these. That's the one, Mark Knight, James Brunton. As far as I'm concerned, he's a 3D printing robot god. He's absolutely amazing. Yeah, no, this guy, he's one of these Facebookers that he'll have a little pop at something, and then if you dare to disagree with him, then he'll start having a go at you. And yeah, sometimes he picks on people, and I just think, oh, that's just really not fair. But you got people like Caldecott Bus Spotters, who he's a nice guy, he's nice and respectful, and you know, sometimes you get bus spotters, and I got no problems with people bus spotting, but sometimes they get in the way, you know, and they nearly get themselves run over and stuff. And yeah, Caldecott is the sort of person, he's respectful to all the drivers, and none of the drivers have a problem with him because he's a respectful guy. And I hate to see people have a go at him because he's doing what he thinks is fun. So can't argue with that, can you?
No.
Bloke who has a go silly sod. Yeah, that's what I said. And you know, and if this guy's got nothing better to do than have a go at people, I think he reckons he's got his own company, you know, and it's like, well, you know, if he's having a go at people, surely that time would be better spent building his business up and make himself more successful. So yeah, to you. That's what I say. No, you know, everyone does what they find interesting. You know, there's a few people that think what I do, you know, building this bus is absolutely stupid. And that's fine. I respect their opinion. So, can anyone think of anything else? I'm sure there was something else you were going to go on about, wasn't there, Dave?
No, I think I've covered everything. Sure have.
You make it sound awful.
No,
I'm sure we're going to go on about.
You're horrible, Horlicks, because as soon as I said that, I thought, oh, yeah, that come out wrong. No, we'll just keep it going, and hopefully no one's noticed. But no, Horlicks have to bring it up.
Yeah, of course. No, I know what you meant anyway.
Yeah. I was just going to say it's worth. I mean, I'm collecting little bits for display, and I came across. Can you see that bus picture behind me?
Yeah, I noticed earlier.
Yeah, well, it's they're on offer on internet and various places, various shops, and I've seen them at 45 quid and 30 quid and what have you. And I was just tottering about a car boot sale. For the last 5 minutes, actually, this car boot sale was open, and we just called in for some fruit. And I quickly had a look around, and there was all packing up. And it was, as I say, it was the last 5 minutes. And I spotted this from a way off, and the lady that had it, she said, "How much is that then?" So she says, "It's £2.50. So I said, "Will you take 2 quid?" Being a cheeky Yorkshireman that I am.
Did you really knock her down from 250?
Yeah.
I'd have snapped her hand off.
So, well, I was just thinking.
Yeah, I'll barter with the best of them, but £2.50 for that. But
anyway,
then you were yeah.
I got it for 2 quid. So it's worthwhile looking around your local car boat sale for anything that might help your collection if you're into that sort of thing.
Do you know, boots drive me up the wall, because I've often sold at the boot fair, and you're trying to sell something for £1, and they're like, "Oh, you take 10p," and it's like, really?
Yeah, that's a bit too much of a haggle, isn't it? Yeah. No, I love a good haggle. One of the biggest successes I had was, it's really stupid now, but I was a kid, and this guy was selling these tomato plants, and he wanted like £1 for them, and I went, "Oh, that's a bit too much," because I only had pocket money then. And I went back later on, and they were like 50p. And I went, "Yeah, that's too much. I can't afford it." And I got to like the end of the car boot, and he had like, say, a 10 of it, about 10 left. And I said, oh, are they any cheaper now? And he went, yeah, they're 25p or something like that. And I went, oh, I've only got £1. And he went, oh, there you go. So I got 10 plants for £1. And we put them in the garden, and they produced so many tomatoes. And they were I still remember they were made. I remember we finished some off in the airing cupboard. And they were absolutely amazing. I loved them. And I'm not a big tomato fan, but yeah, they were reduced from like £1 each to 10p or something like that. And it was absolutely brilliant. But that was accidental haggling. It was like I didn't buy them earlier because I think I had like £5. So to buy 5 tomato plants and then wow, you're out of money.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it. But I had like £1 left at the end. Bought like an ice cream and a couple of comics or something. And yeah, I'd like £1 left. Oh, that's all I've got. And he went, oh, go on, you can have them for that much. Because I'd been round sort of 4 or 5 times. So yeah, Mark Knight's saying about the Indian rug in his lounge. A guy wanted 22 for it. My first response was, would you? Yeah, no, that's a realistic haggle, isn't it? But yeah, I suppose, if someone wanted £2.50 for that picture and you offer £2, yeah, that's a reasonable haggle. Would you be all right with that, Horlicks?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I think if you go in too low to begin with, you just completely put off the buyer, and he's just like, yeah, bugger off, don't bother me.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, if you're looking at something at the end of the car boot, it's been reduced. Yeah. And like I say, I suspect they probably wanted 5 or 10 quid for that to start the car boot, I suppose.
I reckon so, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I personally, if he said 250, I'd have gone off bargain. But yeah, only you, Dave, would haggle something at a reduced price. Just tell me you don't haggle in charity shops. That's one thing.
Oh no, I don't do that. No.
Yeah, I personally, I think that's wrong.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Mind you, I mean, I love a good charity shop, and I think a lot of the stuff is actually too cheap in there. Some things.
Yeah, I've haggled myself up a lot of times. I've done. Oh, that's not enough. Yeah, I'll give you a little bit more. And some of the stuff I've come out with charity shop. I got some figures from there once. They were like World War, sort of old, not World War. They were like Crimean War type era, and they wanted like £2 for 10, 20 figures, and I stuck them on eBay, and I got about 30 quid for them. But I knew I was ripping them off when I give them the full asking price for them. But yeah, I'm just like, I'm straight in. I'm like, I want them now. Now I'm late home, but I'm having them now. I'll be even later. So, but yeah, sometimes I'm always hearing stories from people. Oh, I got this from a charity shop, and they don't know because obviously, like, they deal with clothes and bric-a-brac most of the time, don't they? And they usually have set price. A jumper will be £3.50, a pair of trousers will be a £5 or whatever. And then suddenly you get these odd items, and they don't really know anything about them. So they end up advertising them for way too much money or not enough. If it's too much money. So, but if they're happy. Everything from the charity shop is free for them anyway, isn't it? So 10 pence is still pay some money. So, but I suppose it's just down to the individual to go, to be honest, and say, yeah, that's too cheap. But then there was an old webcam I bought. They wanted like a £5 for it. And I said, oh, can I give you a bit extra for it? Because I want to pay by card. And she goes, no, we don't pay for card transactions anymore because we're a charity. But it's been in there for a long time. We'll give it to you for £4. And I'm like, whoa, I've just agreed to pay a £5. In fact, I've just agreed to pay more. and you still no, don't pay more. No, in fact, have it for less. And I'm like, what are you doing? But if you want to pay more, you can always stick some money in their little charity box, can't you?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to disappear for a sec. I'm going to go. I doubt the print's finished, but I'll go and have a look. I really want to show you tonight, but I don't want to hang the show on till about 11:30. But I'll be back in a sec.
Yeah. Oh, what's that? Yeah, so I don't know what to say really.
No, I don't really. It's been a good show, really, hasn't it? It's been we've learned a lot, and
I've got a bit of
at least we're cracking on with the build.
Yeah, that's it.
And at least we know by next week, will be the top deck seats will be finished.
Yeah, that'd be good actually. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Well, obviously I haven't got that far, but it'd be good to see it all complete.
Yeah, we haven't got that far. And we've got, people out there think of us. I mean, if you're just doing one at 18 double seats, well, we've got 36 double seats to do.
Yeah. Oh, it's me. But I do feel it's gone quite quick because it only seems like the other day that Penny did the roof.
That's so right, yeah.
Roof here. I mean, I know it's still like 18 issues behind, but it doesn't feel like that.
No, it won't do. It won't do. I'm, as you know, usually 7, 8, 9 copies behind, and if I put my mind to it over a weekend or something, we can get caught up, and then it doesn't seem as they've done that many issues,
Mm.
It just goes so quick.
Yeah.
So enjoyable when you've got quite a few to do.
Yeah, the route. I have actually really enjoyed this build, so much more than the DeLorean. But I think the DeLorean's actually done now. I think for the actual model itself, I think it's actually done.
Yeah.
I am waiting for another 5 or 6 issues, but I think it's the plutonium box thing that comes with it. So I don't think there's any more to do on the actual build. So
yeah,
well done. But
and now you're having all those flames with it and everything, then, and
no, I'm not going to bother. No, I'm just going to leave that as it is now. I'm not even doing the extras.
Or a display case, or
I have got the base.
Oh, right.
But it's too big for the shelf.
Yeah.
So that's sort of in a box under the bed. But I do have the actual display base for it. So it could be that I use it at some point if I move it, or because I expect, I'll be doing another build. So that'll take another spot somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I've got it free for current builds. As I recently moved it around, so I've got room for the Routemaster in there.
Yeah.
Which I'm hoping is going to fit. It should do. Looks like there's enough.
Unfortunately, guys, my print is on 98%, but I've just taken a quick video of it because it's looking absolutely amazing. But that's got no supports on it.
Wow.
Hang on.
Wow.
You see how long it's taken though?
Yeah.
But that is absolutely solid. But it's been going for, was it a day and 3 hours, it says?
Wow.
And this not such a good video, but I tried to show the infill on that one. It looks really dodgy on the infill, but it's actually come out really well. But I might actually try it on zero infill next time. But it's just a shame it's on. If it was done like an hour, if I put it on an hour or two earlier, it would have been done by now.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it. But yeah, I'll try experiment, and then because I think with it being a wall thickness of 5 layers, I think maybe if I chuck it up to about seven or 10, because it's all smooth. Oh no, I will need infill. Yeah, I know I will need infill because it's got little bits. It's where the cut is. It's got little holes. I don't know if you've seen some of the other videos where I attach the pieces together. You have to put in a little bit of filament.
Yeah.
And it's got holes like that for it, so I'm going to need some in it. But I could probably reduce the infill to about 10%. So yeah, I think I'll just reduce the infill. But it is absolutely. But it's got that kind of thickness to it.
Wow.
So yeah, but yeah, I'll probably be done within about half an hour or an hour. So, but I'll show it to you next week, and then I mean, obviously you've not seen these on the videos that are coming out, but this is, I think it is the left, isn't it? The left is that side. So that's where the motor's going to go, and then the shell will go over the top, and then there'll be like a battery box there. But the battery you can put the battery in the battery box. So obviously it's just a shell. And I think on the real R2D2, I think it's a battery, but on this one, I mean, the lead's going to come up through the leg, and the power will come from the same in like a central battery in the middle. But it'll just be a couple of car batteries in it, or 3 or 4 motorbike batteries.
Mark says, is Dave going to LED that 1/24 scale Routemaster?
I have thought about it, and no, I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. I've got enough on.
Yeah. Chris Davies has asked me if I like fruit machines. Yeah, I used to. Well, I do. I don't really play them anymore. I used to be really bad. I wasn't. Well, I suppose a gambler's gambler. When I was a kid, like, I used to go with my mum to the arcades, and I used to get paid. I used to have a little part-time job at the campsite, and I didn't get paid a lot. And then when I'd get paid, I'd go down with my mum as a treat, and we'd just spend it all on the fruit machines. And it was really bad because I'd just spend all my wages in like half an hour, and it wasn't a lot of money because obviously I was young. You know, I wasn't on like the 18 machines. They were just like the normal ones. But then I got one. A school friend had one because his dad owned, or his uncle owned some amusements on the pier back in the day in Hastings, and he had a load of fruit machines at his house. So I had one of them, and that cured me. I never got really, because after playing it so long, I just lost interest in them because they were just the same, you know. So it was the best thing I ever did. But then I selling that one because you get bored of them, the same thing. And then I got a new one, and then played that to death. And then I did actually get another one, and the same thing. And then I ended up, I think I've had 4 in total, but I've given up now. They're just so heavy to move about. They're ridiculous.
Yeah.
Especially when
I'd be quite interested to know how Chris got his fruit machine in the spare room, because there's quite a few stairs up there, isn't there?
They are so heavy. I don't know, they're just, it's just too heavy. I mean, I had one up in a flat, and it took ages to get it upstairs, and a lot of strength, and then a bad back for a week afterwards. But it's surprising, really, because there's not much in them. It's just the casing, isn't it? It's made of like chipboard or whatever it's made out of. I think it's chipboard.
Yeah.
But I suppose they've got to be heavy because people, I suppose, could just walk out with one, I suppose.
Yeah, I'll nudge him.
Adrian, someone's going to talk about a puppy. Yeah. Well, yeah, we're getting a puppy. we've all.
Is this the puppy that you didn't want, or no? That you didn't want? It wasn't that you didn't want it. It was you didn't think you'd be able to look after it.
No. Carl's always wanted a dog, and I'm in an R-in because they are a tie, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think now's the right sort of time, and someone at work has got, someone at work's got one, so lovely temperament and everything. So yeah, we decided to get one. I've got a picture actually.
Oh, we love pictures.
Where are we? There we go. That's better.
Oh, how could you say no to that?
Oh.
Yeah, they're not very big. It's a Boston Terrier.
You do know dogs get bigger when they grow up, though, don't you?
That one, yeah, not much bigger though. Obviously, it'll probably double. That's it.
That's fair enough then.
It's
I always like when they get to like the adolescent stage and their paws are too big for their body, and they kind of have a bit of a trouble walking, don't they?
Yeah.
I think their legs grow bigger faster than their body, so they got like full size legs but only puppy sized body, and then eventually the body catches up.
So that is basically what she'll look like.
Lovely. You'll have to show us all when you do get her.
Yeah, it should be not well, we're looking at a Friday, and I think potentially picking her up the following Thursday. So,
and in a few weeks' time, I got a long weekend, so I can come down and meet you.
Yeah, and then we might have a third person or fourth person to join the show.
Oh, fantastic! We'll have a regular slot for the dog.
But yeah, they're really good with other pets, and they're not loud, and they're a bit lazy. They don't like the heat. They don't like the cold. Bit like us, really.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So they just like to sit. They just like to sit and watch the telly on the sofa, really. They don't even really like going out. Obviously, they have to, but yeah. It's just one of them things. It was just, this one came up and it's got all certification, and it just ticks all the boxes. So
yeah.
That's fair enough. And you'll have someone to be glad to see you when you come home.
Yeah, best. So yeah, look forward to it. But that is that is Bella.
Lovely.
Well, but we're going to change the name. That's what the breeder's called.
You can do it by depot.
Well, the breeder's called it Belle, but I don't like it.
That's fair enough.
I'm going to wait and see what
name do you think would suit that dog?
I don't know. I need to wait and see what her character is like when we get her.
Yeah. You got any suggestions, Dave? Just based purely on that picture?
We have a Daisy, and Toy Yorkie she is, and she's a proper Daisy. She does boss you about and boss other dogs about. But,
see, I like names that mean the opposite, so I'd probably be inclined to call her Killer or something like that. Ripper.
Yeah, but no, but they're very quiet. Apparently, they're not very vocal.
Oh, that's good then, because it does get annoying when the dogs are when there's a postman or something.
Yeah, but yeah, no, very.
I swear our dogs when I was young, I'm sure they were convinced their name was, it's only the postman, you silly bugger.
Yeah. Yeah, Mark's Knight's just said he's grown up with German Shepherds, Labradors, and Crossbreeds. Yeah, Carl wants a German Shepherd, but they're just too big.
Yeah.
For me, I know it's, you know, so we've sort of compromised. I mean, that is the other end of the scale because it's tiny, but I think it's more manageable. And we've got 2 cats as well, so the puppy lives with cats now, which is great. So, and they're sort of the similar sort of size. So I don't think they're going to be, you know, they're going to be too intimidated. You know, if you get like a German Shepherd or something, this big thing, the cats are going to freak out, or the dog's going to freak out, one or the other.
Yeah, the cats will establish their place. Quick apology, guys. I've just found out that my chat had frozen, and I've just changed it to live chat, and I just realised there's loads of chat I've missed. So I do. So when you said something, someone said something, and I'm like, well, I didn't see that there. So yeah, I'm sorry I haven't responded to anyone. But yeah, no, the cats will establish their place in the house, and they'll either get on with the dog or they'll learn to keep away from each other.
Yeah.
But you may find the dog will end up with a couple of lines on its nose from where it's been caught by the cat. But it only takes one big warning and the dog will learn its place in the house.
Yeah, that's it.
True. Yeah.
But yeah. So we'll have a cuteness overload in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Mark said about I presume you're talking about the foot. He says, would it have helped if I did it in sections? There's 3 versions of the foot. There's the full size, which I won't be able to do even on the CR10. There's the version I'm doing for the left leg, which is 2 halves, and then you got a few little bits to put on it. And there's another version where the whole leg comes out in little sections. And I'm actually going to print the right leg using the sections, and then I'll put it together. If I don't like it, then I can always print the 2 halves separately. But I wanted to do a big print, and I wanted to do PETG, and it just ticked all the boxes to have a go at it. I mean, I'm not even ready for that shell yet. I've got to do all the motor mounts and stuff. But yeah, the next one I'm going to do in the sections. But the more pieces you're putting together, the more you've got potential to go wrong. So 2 halves is going to be probably the best way, but I'll give it a go with the individual section. So yeah, so I'm just trying to. So Mark Knight, yeah, where is that a full size R2? Yeah, it will be full size. Do you know I've been building this for about over 6 months now, and it's growing, but it's I think 2 years is probably a realistic time scale. With the amount of spare time I've got, if you've got sort of 5 or 6 printers and the whole weekend off every weekend, you could probably do it in a year. But it's yeah, so much to do. It's still so much to do. So sorry, Peter Whitlock, I've missed you, but good night. Once you get one dog, others will follow. I got a few fur babies. So yeah. 4-year-old labs are lovely actually, but
Hello.
Oh, I've seen a few signs like that, Mark, where like Sabre can reach the gate in 2.5 seconds. Can you? Marty McFly says, is it a miniature Horlicks?
Yeah. A Horlicks that.
Mark, you say about chemically welding them together. That's how you do ABS. I think PETG, you treat it exactly the same as PLA, but I've got to double check first. But I think it'll just be epoxy together, just like the. But I won't be able. That's interesting. I won't be able to use the 3D pen on it. Oh, we've got a dog. There we go. Yeah, I won't be able to use a 3D pen because the 3D pen is only for PLA temperatures. So I'll have to fill that with filler. So oh, you meant the puppy.
Not my tea.
I love that dog. You. Hello.
It's such a good lad.
Hello.
He's such a good lad.
Oh. Right, guys, I'm going to have to end the show as soon as I can because my shift tomorrow, I've got a funny work pattern this week. I've got a load of earlies, and then today was a later shift, and then tomorrow and Friday I'm back to earlies again. So 6:25 I start. Let's see what I'm on. Oh, I've just seen what I've got tomorrow. Oh, see, I don't look at I just look at my start times now, because sometimes if I look at the routes that I'm doing, I'm tempted to ring in sick in the morning. So I just turn up at my start time, and whatever I get is a surprise to me. I just find it's a lot easier that way. And once you're at work, you go, oh, if I'd known that, I'd have rung in sick. But it's too late now. I'm here. So that's what keeps me going. Yeah, I was saying to Chris the other day, what I'm tempted to do is, because I've got a lack of space, one of the printers I buy, I might actually give it to Chris to do, and then send some filament to his house and ask him to print whatever file off for me. So it'll teach him how to 3D print. He can then buy his own filament and use my printer, and then I get prints done for me in exchange. And then when I pop round and see him, I can pick them up. And so it's a favor for a favor then, isn't it? So that that, and Horlicks does with my dog. But yeah, I might do us both a favor. It'll get Chris a printer. It'll get him 3D printing. And then obviously if he finds out, he discovers that he likes it, then he can always buy his own. And then of course I've got someone else printing stuff for me. So that could be useful. Right, guys. So if you've got nothing, how do I say this without Horlicks saying anything? If there's nothing else to cover,
yeah, if you have anything else to go on about,
yeah, you've got anything else to rabbit on about, yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a move because I need to be getting to bed myself anyway.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Dave, for coming on the show. And as always, I always forget to sort the show out until Wednesday comes, and then I think it was something like 6 o'clock. I'm like, oh no, is it Dave tonight? So poor man got something like an hour's notice today, but he'll always step up to the plate.
That's fine. I'm always here if you need me. Well, nearly always here. And I'm always doing something interesting, I'm sure.
Yes. You are one of the most interesting people I know.
Anyway, I'll wish you all a good night, and thanks for watching.
Okay, yeah, so thanks everybody for watching. Next week we'll be doing Deja Vu, but a good Deja Vu. And then I will just leave Horlicks to close the show.
Yeah, okay. So have a good rest of an evening. Easy Harris just said cheers, travel safe. If I don't see you through the week, I'll see you through the window.
Oh, I like that.
But yeah, no, night everyone, and see you all next week.
All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.